have got to get up pretty early to go do something. We are the Alternative TikTok. With our mobile studios, we are redefining TV presentation just as technology is setting the pace. We are blending our approach with fresh, perspectively designed breakfast show, The Mighty Drive, informative and entertainment show, exclusive and live interviews.
We President Museveni wadde juzi namulaba apima akawunga kilo 2 tasobola kalya nini bwaba alya kilo 5 oyanema okuliisa eggwanga ne bwe limundekera.
Njagala kwebaza the Alternative TikTok etuwadde kano ka Mighty Drive era n'abatuwuliriza bonna abali ku mikutu njagala basaba mugendo maaso n'okuwuliriza.
All given to you just a click away on your phone, tablet, laptop and smart TVs as we are streaming live on our social media platforms, on the road and on the go. We are the Alternative TikTok.
Fellow Ugandans, during this period when the country is living amid this COVID-19 pandemic, we preach peace among family members and community, end gender-based violence. Stay safe from COVID-19 during election campaigns by following the Ministry of Health guidelines. This message is brought to you by Uganda Women Parliamentary Association, UOPA, and UN Women, with funding from EU Spotlight Initiative.
Uganda is born again.
Mubirabye. Mubiwulidde.
And you will see what NRM means. We are going to crush those criminals.
Mubyenyigiddemu.
We are simply peacefully telling our people, say no to rigged elections.
Ebimu mubitegeera.
Naffe tusobola okutiisatiisa abo abatiisatiisa.
Oba oli awo ng'abamu mugwamu bigwe. Byabaffe byava ku ki?
Era kyova olaba baatukolera ne constitution esinga obusiru mu nsi yonna.
Bino n'ebirala birindirire buli lwa Sande okuva ku ssaawa 11 okutuuka ku ssaawa 1 ey'akawungeezi n'eyaliko Katikkiro wa Buganda Oweekitiibwa Dani Muliika ku program Eriiso ly'Omukulu ku Facebook page The Alternative Uganda.
Omulungi tukwaniriza nate olunaku olwaleero olunaku olusembayo mu mwaka 2020 omwaka tegubadde mwangu gubaddemu ebisoomoozo bingi naye twebaza Katonda nti tugumazeeko mu bulungi ne mu bubi egimu ku myaka egibadde gy'okusoomoozebwa sikiwa nti eriyo omuntu atawulidde bukaawo bwa 2020 oba oli mugagga oba oli mwavu oba oli muto oba oli mukadde oba wasoma oba tewasoma oba oli munaddiini oba toli guno omwaka buli muntu gumukosezza era gubadde mwaka muzibu era tusaba Katonda nti oba oli awo 2020 mugumu abe wanjawulo ku 2020 bangi twasuubira 2020 okubeera mulungi abakulembeze ab'enzikiriza ez'enjawulo n'abamu ne batuwa n'obunnabbi abamu ne bawa okulangirira okw'enjawulo nti 2020 mwaka gwammwe 2020 mwaka gwammwe naye twagenza okuwunzika nga ebintu bikyuse kale wayinza okuba nga eri abagufunyeemu naye era si be bangi ate n'enfa gye bafunyeemu oba oli awo si yo gye baasuubira naye byonna tusiga twekasa Katonda nga twebaza Mukama nga tugamba nti Mukama obwebale olw'okuba nti tukyali balamu si lwakuba nti tufa abatwokeredde naye olw'ekisa kyo okwagala oba oli awo n'ekisa kye ekingi gye tuli bye bituyambye okuba nti tukyali balamu. N'abo bafunye okusoomoozebwa era tusigala twebaza Katonda kuba ye byonna mu byonna teri kitukutuukako nga takitegeera nga takimanyi. Mbategeereza leero 31 omwezi gwa Desemba omwaka 2020. Olwaleero tulina omugenyi waffe nga tuli wano tumulindamu katini nnyo we tulina okumupiikinga we yatugambye twatuuseewo dda enkoko twagikutte mumwa zagenze okwera 12 ffe nga tulinze, so tukwatiramu katono nnyo ajje nga ye omukulu Andrew Mwenda munnamawulire ate ng'era mutunuulizi w'ensonga z'ebyobukulembeze, ebyenfuna n'embeera z'abantu mu Uganda ne mu nsi yonna okutwaliza wamu. Ng'olwali tugenda kutunuulira ebigenda mu maaso mu ggwanga, ye abiraba atya. Abadde mu controversies nyingi, abadde ayogera bitakwatagana, abamu bayita bitakwatagana. Omanye Uganda bw'owa endowooza ku muntu omu kyatakkiriza gw'oba oli awo oba ovudde mu struggle, ate bw'oyogera oli kyayogera gw'oba mutuufu. So azze ayogera ebintu ebyenjawulo, ayogera abamu bye baagala okuwulira n'abo abamu bye batagala kuwulira, naye byonna anaaba atubuulira engeri gy'alabamu ebyobukulembeze, ebyenfuna, ebyobufuzi ebya Uganda, naddala mu kaseera kano nga tuli mu tweteekerateekera okulonda obukulembeze ku mitendera egy'enjawulo okuva ennaku z'omwezi nga 14 ennaku z'omwezi nga byotuuse paka ku bakansala abasembayo ku miruka abakika ku magomboola, nga tutunuulira ye enteekateeka enena agiraba atya. NRM asuubira bw'agiraba asuubira nti esobola okuwangula akawulu, era bwe beekawangudde esobola okusustaininga n'okwatirira weevu eya pure power eriwo, oba weevu y'opposition oba weevu ya FDC, kuba tukize tugaane webiyimidde kati abamu abaagala okumuggyako entebe, okujja ku President Museveni entebe ne NRM ye FDC ne NUP. So ye bw'atunuulira engeri ebitambulamu mu ggwanga asuubira nti NRM singa bewangudde NUP oba opposition oba FDC bo basobola containinga pressure, basobola containinga weevu. Twalabye akawungezi k'eggulo muwule gasi ne gafulumizibwawo nti Bobi Wine Honorable Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert yabadde akwatiddwa era nga nti agaliddwa, naye oluvannyuma ennyo poliisi yatangazizza era nekyakasibwa nti babadde bamuggye Kalangala nga ne bamutwala mu maka ge Emagere, newankubadde abantu be abasoberera ddala mu 20 n'okusolwa leero bwenasembye okumanya nga babadde bakyali mu mikono gya poliisi era nga kiteeberezebwa nti bali mu bitundu ebyenjawulo, abamu bakyali Kalangala, abamu bali Masaka, naye nga bonna ababadde bagenze Masaka yo poliisi bavunaana okuba nti abamu babadde batandise okukola effujjo, okuma omuliro mu bantu, kosa n'okukola ekikolwa ekigeza kusasanya ekirwadde ekikambwe, era nga mu bimu ku byabalumiriza kiteeberezebwa mbu babadde batandise okukola ku basirikale effujjo kwoteeka n'okugyamu omukka mu mmotoka zaabwe. So ng'embeera eri bweti mu ggwanga tujja n'abatulaba ye abitunuulira atya. Naye asuubira nti NRM ekyalina amaanyi agawangula akalu by the way, kuba tuyinza okulowooza nti NRM eyinza okuwangula naye ng'ate ye engeri gy'alamu ebintu alaba nti sesobola kawangula. Anyway, azze ayogera ebigambo bingi naddala nga akolokota opposition, naye ate bw'otunuulira nti Andrew Mwenda owa 2020 ne Andrew Mwenda owa 2020 olaba nti bano ba Andrew Mwenda banjawulo. Twagala tubuulire ye bw'alaba Andrew Mwenda owa kakati ne Andrew Mwenda owa 2010 awo 2008 2007 ye Andrew Mwenda omwoyo ye waliwo ebigambibwa nti ne Museveni wa 96 ne Museveni wa 2020 Museveni banjawulo, naye akopa Museveni oba abantu boogerayo batamanyi naye nga bantu byomaawo. Byonna anaaba abitangaaza, anaaba abitubuulira, naye nga ensonga nyingi tetugenda kutunula byabufuzi byokka, anaaba tunuulira eggwanga tulina gold, tulina amafuta, tulina ebyobugagga bingi, naye ye bwatunulira engeri gye bitambuzibwamu tubitambuza bulungi wa we tusobezza. Abannayuganda bafunyemu nga bino bifunamu oba kuba kiteberezebwa nti eriyo amaloboozi agamba nti n'amafuta gatandika okusimwa naye ye okusinziira okuba nti ne museta busakonkona atuuka butu ayingira buyingizi atubuulire amafuta kituufu gatandika okusimwa era bwegaba gasimwa ye munansi atandika ddi okugafunamu bwe biba nga bigambo by'abantu obutuufu waabyo bwe buli bagatandika ddi okusimwa byonna anaaba abitubuulira Andrew Mwenda tugenda kutunula ku ddembe ly'obuntu naddala eri abo abalwanyizi b'eddembe ly'obuntu ne bannamateeka bewaaliise human rights defenders and activists nti olaba buli agezezaako okuba nti alina eddoboozi lyawaayo mu kaseera kano oba oli akubiddwa ku nsolobotto bw'aba takubiddwa ku nsolobotto akwatibbwa bw'aba takwatibbwa alabuddwa watalabuddwa afunye amasimu agatiisibwatiisibwa watalafunye amasimu agatiisibwatiisibwa oba oli awo ebyenfuna byo oba emirimu gye bifunyemu obwezigoolo so byonna tugenda kuba nga tubitunuulira tulabe omunnayuganda yeyagalidde mu nsi ye era omunnayuganda afuukadde munnayuganda tunuulira nti akawungezi k'eggulo eggwanga lyaguddemu enkyukwe nti munnabyamizannyo munnabikonde yakubiddwa amasasi mu mbeera etali ya bulijjo mu mbeera tetegerekeka zebra ssenyange mando naye n'okusobola aliyo poliisi ekyagezaako okunoonyereza okulaba ekituufu engeri ki mu mbeera ki gye yafudde n'engeri gye yakubiddwamu amasasi byonna byeraliikiriza eggwanga mwe tuli era omuntu oba olina okutya oba waliwo ensonga y'okweraliikirira bw'otunuulira ng'ebikyali awo akawungezi k'eggulo munnamateeka era nga mulwanyizi wa ddembe ng'ono si mulala naye nga ye Nicholas Opio executive director oba ssenkulu w'ekitongole ekya chapter 4 yafunye bail oluvannyuma kumpi lwa nzingo namba ng'ali ku remand kuba bamukwata tugenda munaku nkulu yafunye bail nga tugenda mu Christmas yafunye bail nga tugenda ku lusooka so ebbanga lya kumpi wiiki namba ng'ali ekireka ku CIU kusa n'okubeera ku rimanda ekitalya yafunye bail ya bukadde 15 nga bwabuliwo then kooteeka nawe mweyimiridde obukadde 10 naye kino kitegeeza ki eri eggwanga naddala eri abo abalwanira eddembe kitegeeza ki eri abantu oba oli awo abadde balina essuubi mu bantu bano nti oba oli awo omuntu bw'oba tosobola okweyogerera waliwo omuntu akuwogerera naye kiba nti n'akuwogerera olwaleero basobola okuba nti bavudde namukwata edda abantu balowoozanga nti byabana byabufuzi muli agamba nze munange si byabufuzi oli agamba nti nze ndi mu business naye kati tugenda okukizuula nti ekiri atabaala n'owawaka kiranisa okumulya omanyi eriyo enjogera edda yagamba bwe twasomera eriyo mu European history mwabeerangamu abakulembeze naye nga n'abantu aba bulijjo nga beefula nampulira zibi ng'oli agamba zindaba olwange omanyi omuganda agamba zindaba olwange tutwalira basibe emmere kati ye ng'abeera agamba ate nze ndi wa ggwanga eryo kati bakutte ku ggwanga eryo notandikira batuuka ku ggwanga nagamba twafa dda kati bali ku nze so nabaana eggwanga bagamba bonge batyo nti nze si munebyabufuzi nze ndi mu bizinensi naye bagenza okulaba nga ne mu bizinensi olwaleero babajjeeyo abandi nga balwanyizi b'eddembe edda kuba batugamba nti ensonga ezimu zatwa President Museveni mu nsiko kiwamba abantu kitta bantu kubuzaawo kucunya kutulugunya naye ekyewuunyisa nti ate mu kaseera kano olwaleero ensonga zezimu ezitandise okulabibwa mu ggwanga nti omuntu aba ali awo ali waka mugenda okuwulira nti awambiddwa abaddeyo akasembayo okulabika ye chairman wa FDC mu bitundu by'ebusega ono nga ye mukulu Sulaiman Semakula Asumani Semakula yaliko driver wa Dr. Kiza Besigye naye nga tugenda mu nnaku enkulu awo yawambibwa bajja mu makage ne bamukonkona zaisaba nga 67 kiteeberezebwa nti basanga abantu babweru abo baneighbors be ne bababuuza Wasomani ne babalagirira bali mu motoka nga emotoka bali mu uniform naye nga emotoka za ya bulijjo bwe batuka ku luggi ne bamukonkona ne bamugamba watu ogudde otegana dumenya olwokuba nti musajja muzadde alina abaana n'agamba sijjete mu lumenya n'afuluma kitegeeza nti yali mu vest ne pijamu naye bamukwata ne bamutulugunya okusinziira ku mawulire nasembyeyo okuwulira n'okulaba nga yakavaayo bamukuba ennyondo saidi ya kitegeeza abantu bamukuba ennyondo ku saidi ya mukono ogwa ddyo ku kutu so ali mulwadde naye nga bino byonna byaliwo oluvannyuma lw'okuba nti yawambibwa n'atulugunyizibwa naye embu ku bimu ku byamubuuzibwa byasinakakasa naye nawuliddeko nti bamubuuza nti kitegeeza nti embu yali kiyamaani wa plan B ya Dr. Besigye mu bitundu by'e Busega ne Lubaga so kati nga bamubuuza gwe chairman gwe chairman plan B cheki so mu mbeera eyo n'agenda n'abagamba nti bannange plan B sikitegeeza kyemmanyi nze mbadde training aba agents ba omukyala yesimbyewo okukiikira Kampala omukyala Dr. Stella Nyanzi kati nga abagamba nze by'omungamba sibitegeera so oluvannyuma ennyo mbu ne bamwetondera olw'okuba nti bamutulugunya bamukwata mu bukyamu naye nga si ye yekka ne wetwogera olwaleero Justin Juko yaliko nakinku w'ebikonde era nga bamukazaako ya destroyer naye mu mbeera y'emu babuzibwawo ne munne bamuyita Mayanja naye ye Mayanja kiteeberezebwa nti bamuzuula naye bano bwe bagezezaako okufayiringa habeas corpus lunamateeka naye nga ebeera application eyo ogifayiringa mu kooti nga egamba nti mu mutuwe either mulamu oba mufu mu mbeera yonna mu mutuwe so bafiling habeas corpus era nga olwali kusaawa 5 egenda kuba ewulirwa ku high court Fred Towers kati nga ab'enganda ab'emikwano bannamateeka bagamba nti bamulamu oba mufu ffe tumwetaaga okusinziira ku byenawulirako kiteeberezebwa mbu bamukyajinga mu court martial ne bamulimandinga naye ekifo kye bagamba kye bamulimandingamu tebakyogera mbu nga bamuvunaanako yasangibwa n'ebisi naye ng'ebisi ebyo birina kukwatibwa bitongole bikuumaddembe ebisi kiba kitegeeza nti either bakwata ne combat bakwata n'ebyambalo by'amagye bakwata n'emmundu bwe biti ebyokulwanyisa naye byonna tunaaba tumanya ebivaayo kuba leero omusango bagenda guwulira era nga abamu ku bannamateeka abagulimu Semakadde Isaac owa Center for Legal Aid ng'era y'omu ku bannamateeka ba FDC musango gulimu nategeddeko mulimu Elias Lukwago mulimu bannamateeka ab'enjawulo okulaba nti ne yesimbyewo emawokota okulaba nti oba oli awo oba mufu oba mulamu azuulwa gyali naye ng'embeera bweti bwekyali mu ggwanga mbeera kutyobula ddembe ly'abuntu tuli mu keterekero kakukyusa bukulembeze era bano wetusabira oba bonna bonna abeesimbyewo gwe obanga owulira nti weesimbye oyagala kukyusa obukulembeze genda olonde bw'obanga owulira nti obukulembeze obuliko bwewe bwetaaga era bwebwe obukulembedde obulungi oli bwadde miti yakugaana bulonde busigaleko naye n'oyo agamba nti buno buliko butukulembeddewo oba tufugiddwa bubi oba tufugiddwa bumbula situka genda olonde okujjako nga tolina kakonge mukola ensobi emu bw'ofuna national ID n'olowooza nti ofunye akakonge era ogenda kulonda nedda ssebo kye bayita okulonda olina okubanga si buli munnayuganda nti alonda si buli munnayuganda nti alonda si buli national ID nti alonda naye n'okubanga olina akakonge akakukkiriza okulonda national ID ekulaga nti oli munnayuganda naye tekulaga nti oli mulonzi bintu byanjawulo so bw'obanga olina akakonge k'ebyokulonda vaayo genda olonde ate omala okulonda totambula butambuzi n'okenagguka nga seddume yasize entamu sigalawo kuuma akaluluko bakabale kalondoole kagoberere paka kutale center oba oli awo okutuusa onalangira oyo gwe walonze bw'abanga LC5 LC3 kansala gobera akaluluko okuva ku polling station kumuluka kugombola paka ku district bwekaba kaggwanga fuvako nnyo okulaba nti district yaffe ku kyalo kyange kugombola ku district muno omukulembeze wange yafunye obululu omutwalo gumu naye bwakatuuse Kampala ate mpulira bagamba nti yafunye 10 ekyo kijja kuyambako okukendeeza okwemulugunya nti baatubbye kuba ebiseera ebisinga tulowooza nti baatubbye naye nga naffe tetwafuddeyo okulondoola ebiseera ebisinga tukoma ku polling station we tulondedde n'ogamba nti nze maze ogwange guwedde nedda ogwa tegunnaggwa guggwa ng'omuntu amaze okulangira ate naffe tukuuma eddembe bwe banga bakuwangudde tokugamba nti banzibye kuba mazima ebiseera ebisinga nti alumu batuwangudde naye ne twekwasa nti twabbiddwa oba oliawo kale olumu tubbibwa tukize tugaana kuba ebiseera ebisinga kooti efudde nerangirira era ndaga nti obubbi bubaddewo oba emivuyo gibaddewo naye ne bagamba nti emivuyo gibaddewo doesn't amount okusazaamu akalulu so naye nga okubba kuba kubaddewo newankubadde for now ebigenda mu maaso mu ggwanga tukize tugaane embeera si nnungi era akalulu sofa tekali free and fair kuba bugamba nti abantu abeesimbyewo ku mitendera egy'enjawulo akalulu kali scientific bajja kulaba nga akalulu ako bakasabye ku mitimbagano ne ku mikutu gy'amawulire nga radio ne tv oyeesimbyewo bwaba bookings obudde sinakindi n'okusasula asudde n'abeera ku mpewo ku madakiika 3 naye nga radio tv mugijjeeko then tekiba free and fair so nga ate bakandisa abamwe babeera ku mpewo mubakkiriza ne bakola effujjo ne boogera ebintu byonna bye bagala bakkirizibwa naye ono apangisa radio akisasula n'asula obudde essaawa 2 n'akwata obukadde 2 obukadde 3 naye gwe n'ojja n'ogamba nti byonna so tekiba fair omugenyi waffe atuuseeko wano era tugendako mu break katono nnyo omugenyi waffe Andrew Mwenda atuuseeko wano anaaba atuyisaamu tulabe ekibigenda mu maaso mu ggwanga ye abiraba atya ye ng'omukugu era omutunduzi w'ebyensonga z'ebyobukulembeze tunulira ebyenfuna embeera z'abantu abiraba atya katugendako mukuma katono nnyo tukomewo n'omugenyi waffe atuuseeko wano tukyali mu maaso tukyali munyonya.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
This is a time where there is a lot of violence. For example, police brutality. A lot of you are being beaten up, the voters, the people from the opposing side. So election is just that period where we get free money.
An election is a process through which people choose to vote a person or a group of people to hold an office of leadership.
Did you know that you have the power to determine on who leads you?
Did you know that your vote has the power to change your society and the country at large?
Dear citizens, please vote wisely. Don't vote money, but vote issues.
Dear parents, I can't make any decision.
Your choice determines my future.
Fellow students, exercise your right. Go and vote.
Abafumbira mwese muzaze tugende tutera karuru.
Abanyayuganda mwena mugende mutera karuru.
Bashange face face yihule kuche hodole.
Abantu nyana mujje tugende tukome.
Genda oronde.
Your vote.
My vote. Our vote.
Is our present and our future.
The world is at a critical moment of providing innovative alternatives as a means to create change.
As such, we have created a not-for-profit alternative mobile digital platform as a way to promote space for freedom of speech and expression to the unheard voices.
We know you believe in the cause and you can further it more by contributing to its sustainability in forms of internet data, fuel, and any other support you deem relevant.
Please support us with your contribution to Equity Bank account number 103-5201
607252 under the name Alternative Digital, or our mobile money numbers 0702 900076 or 0783 047785. Alternative Digital, real issues, real talk.
Good morning, citizens, Ugandans, definitely with those that are abroad who are following us and watching us live from our social media page, the Alternative Uganda. And today, in our Mighty Drive morning show, we have, he calls himself the old man of the clan. I was wondering whether he is okay.
Old man of the clan.
Okay, he's the old man of the clan. He will tell us why he calls himself the old man of the clan. We have Andrew Mwenda. Good morning, sir. Please say hello to the viewers of the Alternative Digital.
Good morning, viewers of Alternative Digital. I am very pleased and honored to communicate and interact with you this morning. On the last day of the year, imagine.
You see, we're closing the year in style with Andrew Mwenda live, the old man. Being the old man, perhaps he'll share with us lots of things in regards to what's happening and in this country. I want to begin by, first of all, Mwenda, asking you to give us just a hint on what you're seeing in regards to the sequence of events, both politically, socially, and economically, because people, our format of through which we invite people nominate. So there were some voices who wanted to either critique you or hear from you, or ask you questions. And as we continue moving forward in the hours that we have with you, people will want to share and hear from you. Please tell us, in this preamble, how do you read things? You have seen chibokos, you have seen killings, or for lack of another word, you could also call them murders here and there, beatings. So please share with us just some preamble, and then we can go into the depth of this discussion, sir.
Let me put it this way. Because I think Uganda lacks what we would call democratic culture, or what I would call liberal democratic culture. A liberal society, there are two things. Democracy is rule of the majority. Liberalism is tolerant of diversity. I think that given our infancy as a democratizing country, both democracy as a political value and liberalism as a social value are not deeply entrenched. So we have ended an election where you have two contestants. One side is determined to keep power at all costs, and the other side is determined to grab that power
at all costs as well.
So you have two extremes pulling the country apart. Now, in many other countries, which are liberal democratic, there is always what they call civil society. These are voluntary associations of powerful social groups that stand in between the two and moderate them. We don't have that moderating force. Even what goes for civil society in Uganda.
But is there willingness between the two? Is there willingness between the two forces to offer themselves to the civil society to moderate them, in your view?
Well, this is what I was explaining to you, that there isn't what ideally we would call civil society. Civil society is that force that stands in between economic and political society and moderates the two. I don't think that there are any restraints on the part of Bobby Wine, the most popular opposition candidate.
You now accept that? You now accept that he's the most popular now?
Yes. I have always thought so. It's not that I think he is the, from the opinion polls, he's the most popular politician in the opposition. I don't think there is anything on his side, whether he supporters and himself, which says we need to exercise restraint here. And I don't think there is anything on the side of the government which says we need to exercise restraint. So each one acts without any form of restraints. There is nobody that stands above them that can moderate them. There is no one whose support they need and who is so powerful so that they have to bend their behavior to the values and norms of that force. Because that force, which would be civil society, really is almost non-existent.
What do you think makes the civil society non-existent? Is it the environment by the president and his government, or people are just?
I think at first we are a younger society. And it is not that there is a non-existent civil society there was being extreme. It is very weakly developed. You see, the problem of Uganda is what goes for civil society are NGOs. These NGOs are foreign funded. So, you know, historically, civil society are these voluntary associations that are organized along democratic principles. What do I mean by that? That people with a shared interest come together in a voluntary fashion around that interest and form an association where they elect the leaders. The leaders are given a particular mandate to perform particular function. If they don't, the population would vote them out. That is what civil society actually means. It's organized along democratic lines. That now let me tell you about civil society. Please just Gilbert, I wanted to have a second to understand, because I know that Ugandans maybe they don't know what civil society is. What you have in Uganda is what I would call NGOs, non-government organizations. They are funded largely by the Western world, Western Europe and North America. These associations, let me describe it to you like this. The beneficiaries of the activities of these NGOs are not members of the NGO. You know what I mean? What they receive from those NGOs are not rights. They receive charity. Yeah. You get, none of them has elected that NGO that if it fails to serve what we think, what we elected you for, we can vote you out. You see, like many of Ugandan MPs are elected by the people. And in every election, 67% or 65% of incumbent MPs are voted out because the population has said you do not serve us well.
But Andrew, one would ask
But when it comes to these civil society organizations, Gilbert, is that none of those leaders there, even these organizations, are not formed by Ugandans, are not financed by Ugandans, so they are not accountable to Ugandans. So they act according to the dictates of those who fund them, and those who fund them are in America and Europe. So they can press forward for an ideal that is not realistic to our circumstances, but because it is financed by the Americans and the Europeans. I don't know whether you get what I'm saying. Yeah. That is a very dangerous situation for our country because you don't have domestic forces exercising influence on the political process. In fact, you have foreign interests pursuing an agenda. That agenda could be materially beneficial to them, it could be culturally beneficial to them, whatever it is, the Ugandan citizen is not represented.
I want to ask you something. How would you expect such civil society organizations to operate fairly when the government itself, you have seen offices of civil society being broken into, beginning with Chapter 4, Action Aid, GLIS, and so many others. So how do you think they would operate in such an environment?
But that's what Gilbert have already
because
told
you have said that the reason for which they are not that operational and visible is because they are dancing the tunes of the donors. But also, even when we assume that there are no specific tunes of the donors, we see the government intercepting and interfering with their operation.
That will be a very different thing. Let me give you an example. Governments can try to break up civil society. Let's assume there were labor unions here. Of course, the government of Uganda has co-opted them. And in the process, by co-opting them, it could have undermined the democratic content. But even elsewhere in the world, in Britain previously, labor unions were supportive of the Labour Party. In America, of the Democratic Party. But it is unlikely that if you have voluntary associations of Ugandan citizens, government has not closed any church. So you can organize through the church, and they consider church part of civil society. Because
maybe the reason why they haven't closed the church is because most of the churches are pro-government, for lack of another word. We have seen the born-again faith and others.
That is a reflection of the skill of the president and his party to win over the churches. Because
is it winning them genuinely or persuading them or bribing them? We have seen envelopes
whatever it is, democracy, the American philosopher, historian Will Durant said that the three forms of government that have been successful and long-lasting, there is aristocracy ruled by birth, theocracy ruled by religion, and democracy ruled by money. So the fact that they have bribed you, and bribes can be psychological, they can be material, they can be now, they can be in the future. I am sure the people who are supporting Bobby Wine has given them a bribe, and that bribe is, I am promising to do for you something. You see, a bribe is in economics an exchange for something. So I'm sure there are bribes Bobby Wine is giving which are attracting people to him. Others he bribes them with a promise of freedom. So that's a bribe they have taken home. So even Museveni, whatever he gives them is really material. What is important is that
so as long as
in a democracy you must persuade people either with money, with promises of freedom, with the promises of healthcare, with promises of roads, whatever it is. There are certain benefits you promise people. Either you give them immediately or you give them after the election, but there must be promises you make and you should cash.
Andrew.
So Bobby Wine has said he's going to increase the salaries of teachers. And isn't that a bribe? You're going to an election, you're promising people high salaries.
Andrew, let me give you this short story. In 2001, or thereabout, I was, 2000, I was in senior one. You were already at KFM. Personally, I used to admire you. And this is why I want to ask.
So you stopped?
That's where we're going. There is, in my view, and in the view of the citizens watching us, there are two Andrew Mwendas now. There is an Andrew Mwenda of 2000 and Andrew Mwenda of 2000 to 2000 and around 9 or 10 or thereabout. And there is another Andrew Mwenda of 2011 up. I want to first talk to Andrew Mwenda of 2000 to 2011. Where is this Andrew Mwenda?
So this is the question. So you have made an assumption and you have
No,
made
no,
it reality.
no. I want to ask on behalf of the citizens who are watching us, where is that Andrew Mwenda? Because when we were coming here, when people are nominated, they ask, no, I'm Norman.
Norman.
People asked, we should ask the Andrew Mwenda we have now, whether he lost him. So, I mean, the Andrew Mwenda of then, whether he lost himself to the Andrew Mwenda of now.
No, perhaps I should ask, what is it that I said in 2000 that I haven't said in 2020?
Let me quote you, Andrew. 13 years or thereabout ago, you said, when you attended TED Global, one of the speeches that I saw you, and and I admired your utterances and the entire speech. Many of our governments, I want to believe you meant Africa at large, many of our governments are dictatorial. Therefore, they need money to clobber the opposition, pay for their political hunger zone, and other things. Then you said Mr. Museveni at the time had 114 presidential advisors, who in fact never meet him, save for the functions. And even when he meets them, he's the one who advises them. You went ahead to say in that conference.
But if you say so many things,
no.
Maybe I should answer.
Okay, begin with this. Yeah.
So
has he changed?
At that time, I said many governments in Africa are dictatorial. Today, I would do. Perhaps say they are less democratic, because you see, the democracy is a journey. You cannot say a country is either a dictatorship or a democracy. Really, there is a progress that you make. We would ask ourselves, when did the US become democratic? Is it when it was formed and they had their first election? Is it when they allowed all white men to vote? Is it when they abolished slavery? Is it when they allowed women to vote? Is it when they gave black people the right to vote in 1964? When did America become a democracy? So to that degree, I would critique myself. Remember, as I've grown, read more, learned more, I can even critique some of my views. So I would say many African governments
one of the points I wanted you to tackle, Andrew, is that
Tumuhimbise, you interrupt
that the
me.
dictators use the money to bribe or sway away their critiques. Okay, and one now asks on whether you are one of the people or the victims who were either, swayed by use of money, or you saw, by then you saw things differently and you now see them differently.
I've been waiting for that check from State House. Please, President Museveni, send me that check. Because everyone tells me you sent me a check in case you gave it to somebody. Please be informed today, this old man, who is also old enough to be your father, I have never received your check. Send it. Okay, we can continue.
Is this again?
But I wanted to answer that what I was saying. First of all, I believe what I was stating was a fact. Museveni right now has I think a cabinet of 81. I think that Museveni now has a presidential advisors in excess of 100. That is disastrous. I don't think we need all that paraphernalia. So I have not changed on that view.
Your words. I wouldn't want to use the word bitter.
So everything I said there, I would still say it today. And by the way, I still say it today. I host a radio show every Friday. I say this. I appear on TV. I say this.
When you are home alone, scientists and other people call
continue
it.
With the TED Talk.
Okay.
I want to know what it is.
You said that the president need to. The president had lost moral purpose to power.
Where did I say that?
This is in an interview after your arrest, detention, and bond. After closing even.
Okay.
Yeah. So
no, man,
has he lost?
I'm so happy I've said it. Go to my Facebook. Actually, this is my Facebook page.
Has
I
he
read
changed?
for you. So you said there are two
Because
Mwendas.
people.
No, man. Because you see, for me, I like fact.
I am going back to the two Mwenda. Okay, yes, the second Mwenda. Because there is a second Mwenda who calls BCJ.
Yes.
BCJ people radicals, calls Bobby Wine supporters hooligans.
I am
so
so
and
happy.
this can't be the Mwenda of that time who used to say BCJ had come to, I mean, to rescue this country or something.
I am so
I was
happy
following
you
all
have
your,
come to this.
personally, I was following all
No
your
man,
shows
no
on KFM, Andrew Mwenda Live. I was young then. I was in senior one. I followed you. I was telling my colleagues here, even 2000, when you interviewed Milton Obote, I mean, I was following you. I want to say, on behalf of other people, for lack of another word, young people especially seem to be disappointed with the Andrew Mwenda of then and the Andrew Mwenda of now. And that's why I want to ask, what happened to the other Mwenda? Did he offer himself to the Andrew Mwenda of now? You have, them, you have changed.
Now listen, because Norman, you have come with a bunch of prejudices, really. And
a reason why we're here for you to,
no.
I mean, to
Yes,
tell the,
you
to tell the
don't even
nation.
allow me to explain your prejudices because you are so wrong. So let me read this. This post is on my Facebook page.
Yeah, this
It
was 2009.
December
2008.
5. No, now I'm reading December 5th. Please check. This is a post I made on December 5th. Here is my critique of NRM. It is titled Bobi Wine's roller coaster campaign. Let me read for you what I say. For all its achievements, NRM has failed to master social media. This is not because it does not value it, but because it is ideologically exhausted. It lacks committed cadres with passion to tell its story. I continue. The longer Museveni has ruled, the more authority has shifted to him individually. Today, authority in Uganda is transmitted through him to a small circle of close family and kin. There are no longer many people around him who are not family who can exercise the influence of people like Kategaya, James Wapakabolo, Vedan Sali, Amanya Mushega, blah, 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 blah. Hence, his internal paralysis and inertia inside the president's campaign and even the wider government. Everyone waits for Muhoozi to make decisions. Is this the Mwenda of 2000? This is 2020. 2020.
I have this for you.
No, you said, I no longer say those things. I read you another post. Because you see, I just want to expose your assumptions. Here I wrote another campaign, Museveni's missing campaign. Okay, but let's continue.
Yeah,
so I just want to say, I want you to
Mwenda.
say, Norman, in a very serious interview, I want you to say, Andrew, this is a criticism you made of government. Today you don't make it. And I will produce here in this studio on my Facebook page the same criticism 20 years later, and you're saying when has changed?
2008, when we left Monta, Museveni said we wouldn't write about his family. Now we are going to write about it.
And I have just read for you what I have read about his family. That he rules.
I wish the producers of this show had that clip and how bitter you were with how you were banging tables at the time. I mean, by then, do you know, Andrew, do you know by then you behaved, for lack of another word, the way you see people power behave now is the same way you used to behave then. You were another radical, or should we say you were a hooligan at that time?
Produce the clip. Produce the clip.
The way you're banging tables.
Produce the clip.
And said you will, even if that he will jail you, he will arrest you, even if it means killing you. You would rather die 100 years ago. You'd rather die yesterday than living 1,000 years. Blah blah. You remember your words. To be honest with you, with people that are viewing us and who nominated you, they still say you changed. You are.
But I want them to say, what is it I said then that I have not said now? Whether in favor or against Museveni or in favor or against Besigye. One, I don't even want you to bring 20.
Why do you call Andrew? Why do you call Besigye supporters radicals?
So do I prove to you that I said Besigye supporters are radical in the year 2000 and in the year 2005? Can I produce an article?
Even 2000?
That they are radicals. I wish. You see, you made a mistake. You should either have read my articles first. After finding out my articles, you could have come to me. That is, I think, the mistake you made. I can
maybe it's
because now in the middle of an interview, I have to go.
Andrew, one interview out of 100.
No, but you are.
I mean, like 99 could be pro the regime used to critique then, and perhaps one of them when you get backlash or something from the I don't know, from social media, and then you want to seemingly be part of them, and you want to I mean, that is also another trick that some people.
The government. This article was produced on December 18th, 2005. Okay, we read it. The government has given Besigye, has helped Besigye gain undue hero status. Monitor. Sunday Monitor, 18th December. Please go check it out. So, here is my criticism of Besigye. And whatever. I said, it is most likely that Besigye's political fortunes have been greatly aided by his arrest, detention, and concurrent trial in the High Court and the General Court Martial. I personally find Besigye a very courageous yet unsophisticated politician. He has an incredible propensity to politically ruin himself. Confronted by a more enlightened government, it would take a very little effort to lay bare his hollowness. The one person who saves Besigye from himself is Museveni. Like Museveni, Besigye is a belligerent militarist who scorns civic struggles for democracy. But unlike Museveni in 1980, Besigye's obsession with a military solution to Uganda's current political challenges is anachronistic. Listen to this. Whatever our criticism of Museveni's regime, it has actually brought a measure of economic prosperity and institutional order. Our elites inside and outside the government have taken mortgages and built nice homes, set up businesses, dance in nightclubs, shop in spacious malls, drive in fancy cars, are educating their children, and love to watch Manchester United stop Arsenal or Chelsea's unbeaten run at Old Trafford in the English Premier League. Listen, there are praises I give to Museveni now about economic prosperity, people driving nice cars, building nice homes. It's here, 2005. There's criticism made of Besigye being a belligerent militarist against democracy. There. 2005. Who is this Mwenda? Please read it. Read it to the public.
Let me ask you, Mwenda. Let me ask you, Mwenda. What do you call economic prosperity in your view?
No. I want us to focus on the issue, and I want you to be honest to yourself and say, old man,
and you should
actually we are wrong.
Both of us.
It is not true that you have changed. So because I can see in 2005, you made the same criticism of Besigye that you make now. I open another article.
I'll read you comments from the viewers. Andrew,
yes.
What do you call economic prosperity in your view? Just having traffic jam in town and with
yes,
a few buildings that perhaps belong
it's
to
a sign
a
of
few
an emergence of a middle class. And can I tell you, in America, there's a man called Jeff Bezos. You know him? He's the richest man in the world. He's worth 84 billion. I can tell you there may be tens of millions of Americans whose total wealth, combined wealth, cannot equal his. A capitalist economy is an unequal economy. You understand me? There will always be Sudir and there will always be Mukasa. So it's not true that economic prosperity must percolate to every single human being for an economy to be successful. The richest country in the world is America. Go there. There is Jeff Bezos, there is Bill Gates, there is Mark Zuckerberg, there is the owners of Google, and then there is the people who live on the streets. 55,000 people in California are homeless. 55,000.
I mean, and to compare their population to the Ugandan population. And compare.
It doesn't matter. What I'm trying to explain to you, Tumuhimbise, is to say that somehow, Tumuhimbise, let me use your name, Norman. Norman, what I'm trying to explain to you is Ugandans think that when they talk of economic prosperity, it means that every single human being has become prosperous. What I can say in this country, it was when I joined the Monitor, for example, in 1994, January. Only Wafula Gutu, who was chairman and managing director and editor-in-chief, had a car. All editors, all reporters, everybody walked. And Paula owned a very old ramshackle Mazda, which hardly could move sometimes. Today, when I go to Monitor, the same newspaper, I find even the office messengers own cars. If that's a sign of reducing poverty, I am happy with that.
You're sounding like Mr. Museveni, who says in 1986 you were this. Uganda had this population, and we had this. These are the taxes we used to collect, and then he forgets that of course he hasn't done too much, for lack of another word, and in quotes, he hasn't done too much when it comes to the population growth. In my view, in my view, hasn't done too much because in any case he's not the one who contributes wedding money or convinces people to date and give birth. But to say, when you say in 1993 Mwenda had one, Wafula had one car, had the car, and the rest of you guys were walking. For some reason, things have changed. For some reason, it's like someone telling us that.
So they have changed by what? By the will of God?
No, not by him. Definitely not by the president.
What has changed?
If there is some contribution, there could be 1 or 2, 3 or so percent.
That's nonsense. No man, please. This is the problem of the Ugandan, whatever. I don't blame Ugandans the fact that they don't read and they don't know. Let me first explain to you. In this country, Uganda's economy reached its peak in 1970. Took over in January 71. Uganda's economy declined. In 1970, primary school teachers in Uganda could afford to buy cars. By 1987, university professors at Makere could not afford to buy a bicycle. I just want you to understand that. Listen to this, Norman. It is not true. Ugandans, please get to know this. It is not true that Uganda's economy has grown by mistake or because of time. That's not true. You can go to Congo, you can go to Somalia, you can go to so many countries. You realize that you can go to Libya. Libya was better off in 2011 than it is today. So it's not true. By the way, I should also give you an example. Tanzania, from 1961 up to 1985, Tanzania did not have a war internally. But Tanzania's economy was going down because of Nyerere's mismanagement. Zambia, same thing. Malawi, same thing. Africa's economy is declined. It's not true that time improves things. It's not true. Please, that's nonsense.
One of the reasons why things change.
No man, now listen. Because maybe problem is you don't want to learn. Can I tell you? The world economy, let me tell you, the level of the world economy at the time of Jesus Christ was the same 1,500 years later. Are you aware? Human life had not changed for 1,500 years. Economic growth started in 1750 with the advent of the Industrial Revolution. The first parts of the world to sustain growth is Western Europe. That small part of land called Western Europe. Then its offshoots, North America, which is the United States and Canada, and Oceania, Australia and New Zealand. You get it? Now growth started spreading to other countries. In the 1960s and 70s, many countries stagnated. So Uganda's growth under Museveni is a result of two things. Active actions by Museveni, one, to re-establish political order. Two, he has put in place a series of policies and institutions that have sustained this growth. And I should inform you, I don't know why Ugandans don't read. There are two professors, one called Michael Bruno, another one is called William Easterly. Michael Bruno was the chief economist of the World Bank. Chief William Easterly is, I think, a professor at an NYU, United Nations, rather, New York University. Listen to this. They did a study saying, what is the contribution of an individual leader to economic growth? Are you following me, Norman?
Yeah.
What is a contribution? They used a statistical model to identify, say, in this country, this Uganda is surrounded by South Sudan, collapsed state. Eastern Congo, it's a collapsed state. There is no economic activity. Tanzania was stagnating. Rwanda was in civil war. Kenya was stagnating. What is the effect of an individual leader on growth? Museveni came above Lee Kuan Yew of Singapore. Even though Lee Kuan Yew performed better, the institutions he had, the access to the sea he had, and all other dynamics that he was in a region that was highly dynamic in East Asia, discounted that. You should go online and read it. You want me to show you the study?
Andrew, let me ask you something.
Museveni comes above Lee Kuan Yew in terms of his individual contribution to Uganda's growth. So this idea that somehow Uganda's growth is an accident, that is just because of them, it's not true. There are many countries which Uganda had more cars in 1970 than 1986. Do you know that? Because people are growing poor. If you ask your father, is your father still alive?
Yeah.
Yes. I, as a child growing up in Uganda, I saw people who had iron-roofed houses. The iron sheets grow old and they replace them with grass. I saw people who had screed, in Uganda called cement, floor made of cement. I saw it break down and they could not find cement or afford the cement at that time. I saw teachers who had cars removed to motorbikes, fall down to bicycles and begin walking.
Andrew,
I saw increasing deprivation. So for me, can I tell you, I am willing to be hanged. Bobby Wine and your supporters, please, I am ready to be killed in defense of the fact that Museveni individually, his government collectively, have initiated Uganda's growth. They have sustained Uganda's growth for 35 years. Ugandans today live a far better life than at any one time before. Whether you look at the quality of housing, whether you look at the access to clean water, access to electricity, access to transportation, access to even a variety of goods. I grew up in a country where there was no salt, soap, sugar, basic necessities. You would have money. I came from a wealthy family. My dad could go on to Nairobi or to Congo to even buy beer, bottled juice. When you bring it, people think you're eating exotic foods. This country had gone to the dogs because its economy had been mismanaged. Museveni changed it. I am willing to die in defense of that view. I held that view in 1995. I held it in 2000, in 2005, 2010, 2015, and now. Two, I have serious criticisms of Museveni. I wish these people could focus on them. The criticisms I have of Museveni are not the criticisms Bobby Wine has. And I think people ignore that. You need to ask, what does Bobi Wine stand for? Bobi Wine doesn't stand for anything. His supporters don't even know what they want.
Let me ask Andrew. I don't want to seem like I'm so biased. You wake up in the morning, put on your expensive tie and your suit, cross to NUP office. What are you going to do there? To a political party that
I'd experiment. I was involved in an experiment because I thought the whole party was radical extremists. But when I reached there, I found that it has some people of good values, decent people. It was an experiment.
Good values, as you call it.
Yes.
But you're saying
supporters
supporters of Bobi Wine don't even know what they're supporting. They don't have any.
So
which values did you find there?
Let me explain to you. The radical extremists whom I have to interact with on a regular basis don't even know what they want. And two, they don't have any value of democracy. For them, they are frustrated with Museveni and they think...
Andrew, that's an insult to people who wake up in the morning and support. In fact, for information,
no,
I am aware.
Not every Bobi Wine supporter, the ones that interact with on social media.
I am aware that you are aware that Bobi Wine's political party has the likes of Namboze, the likes of, the likes of Segona and others, whom, in my view, they know what they want. So when you say...
First of all, I should tell you, better Namboze and Segona, I don't even think they understand economic policy. Honestly.
So you mean a political party would just come to solve one concern?
But I don't agree with their views also. I also have my views. I am not a conveyor belt of their views. I don't share their views, and I don't even think they are. I don't think.
Let me take you back to what you've just said. You said you found people with some value.
Yes, value is different from policy. Because when I reached, I found young men who were saying Mwenda is our enemy. The guy said, I said, I have come to register because it was a test. Remember that you need to know. I started from a television show. I said on a television show, if I go there, those people will lynch me. So I said, let me come there and see what will happen. So it was to test their tolerance. When I reached there were young ladies who said, no. Andrew Mwenda is a citizen of Uganda. He's free to join this political party, and we shall register him. And they registered me. To that degree, my views of NUP were moderated because I was able to realize that there is a large section of people in that party who have democratic values, who believe that we should tolerate those who disagree with us. We should accommodate those who even criticize us.
Does that mean?
That did not change the fact that on social media, I interact with very many NUP supporters who are uncouth, who are hooligans, who have no value whatsoever except the destruction of this country. And I am sorry to say, they seem to have the upper hand in that party, that party is incapable of exercising moderation. The moderate voices in that party are weak. The same applies to NRM, by the way. The liberal moderate forces in the party have greatly weakened. That is why you saw what was happening during the demonstrations, killing people. That's why you have seen there has been a lot of violence, because the people the pillars of restraint in that party, who were individuals, have died, have left, whether you think of the Kategayas, the Matthew Chikaires, the Mushegas, the Mujisha Muntus. Even Messenger was a moderate force inside that party. They have either left or died, and now the party is in the hands. But these are things I write about them in my articles. Can I read it to you? The party right now is the NRM is in the hands of self-seekers. Let's go back to the gospel according to Saint Andrew Mwenda, because you said Mwenda believed in this the other year, and now he no longer achieved this. Listen to this. We are going back to this gospel. I wish you had the listen. I say, it is in this context that Bobi Wine has surprised the system. The way he has rolled out his campaign across the districts he has visited shows that he has been grossly underestimated, including by me. When I'm wrong, I plead guilty, unlike you, no man who doesn't. Because you brought
citizens. I am just representing them.
The system, listen, I said the system lacks the political security that must to handle him, hence the arbitrary use of violence. So the biggest coverage of the elections is not what Museveni is great at, public policy, which Bobi Wine is weak, is intellectual handicapped at, but the violence and brutality the government has unleashed on this singer-turned politician. The NRM is unable to change its ways because it has governed Uganda for 35 years using particular methods which have served it well. However, Uganda has radically changed its economy, its population, the level of education, the exposure, the lifestyles and attitudes. Bobi Wine is a representative of this change. You get it? So the people in charge of the system are using old ways to cope with an entirely new phenomenon. And this is a time when they have suffered deep institutional atrophy, terrible loss of energy, passion and morale, and a grievous decline in faith in their mission. You were telling me, faith in their mission, lack of moral purpose. So 2020, 2009, listen, the NRM has degenerated into a cash and carry party. Without faith in its mission, it no longer seeks to persuade, but to bribe and to coerce. This explains the retreat to violence as the one and only tool. 2000!
Andrew.
This is a 2000, mind of 2000. Am I correct? No man, hold it. Is this a mind of 2000?
This is what I was telling you, Andrew.
Is this a mind of 2000?
This can be one of a million posts that you will make. No, I mean, that's what. Let me even read you this.
Answer my question. Is this the Mwenda of 2000? This one I have read.
We're trying to, I mean, as a moderator here,
answer my question.
I'm trying to judge whether we still have the other Mwenda. I'm trying to, I mean, on behalf of the.
I'm getting frustrated.
No, you cannot. You cannot. I am representing, I mean, Andrew. Anyway, people, we're going for a short break shortly, a few seconds and coming back. That's when we shall hear from this gentleman on whether he's still the other Mwenda or he's, he's 2-in-1 or 3-in-1, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So we're coming back shortly in a few seconds. Thank you.
The Alternative Digital. Real issues, real talk.
Abanya-Uganda bagenzi banje ombwire obu obwo kuronda karuru nitubashaba okukoma obusinge omu maka n'omu bicweka byaitu n'obujunanizibwa bwaitu okumaraho obutabanguko omu maka nitubijusya okwetanta ekirwe kya COVID-19 obwe nimukuratira okuhaburwa kwa Ministry y'ebyamagara. Obutuma obu nibukwihikibwaho Uganda Women Parliamentary Association UOPA na UN Women n'obushagiki kuruga omu EU Spotlight Initiative.
This is a time where there is a lot of violence. For example, police brutality. A lot of you are being beaten up, the voters, the people from the opposing side. So election is just that period where we get free money.
An election is a process through which people choose to vote a person or a group of people to hold an office of leadership.
Did you know that you have the power to determine on who leads you?
Did you know that your vote has the power to change your society and the country at large?
Dear citizens, please vote wisely. Don't vote money, but vote issues.
Dear parents, I can't make any decision.
Your choice determines my future.
Fellow students, exercise your right. Go and vote.
Abafumbira mwese muzaze tugende tutera akaruru.
Abanya-Uganda mwena mugende mutera akaruru.
Bashange face yihule kucha hodole.
Abantu nyana mujje tugende tukome.
Genda oronde.
Your vote.
My vote.
Our vote is our present and our future.
The Alternative Digital. Real issues, real talk.
Okay, we are back with the old man of the clan. I mean, he will intimidate you, but
No.
of course,
I have not intimidated no man. He's lying. I have just showered him with facts.
He might
and
even want.
he's not properly prepared.
No, he might. So
interview
one
me.
person asks you here, Andrew. Does Andrew think that Mr. Museveni is going to rule for life? Because the way he sounds.
Okay, let me state
And this
my
is
opinion. One.
he's called Ali Mabele.
Ali, listen to me now. I, Andrew Mwenda, believe that President Yoweri Museveni should retire yesterday. He should retire yesterday. But if he can continue to win elections as a Democrat, I respect the will of the people and the decisions of any democratic process.
And what's your definition of winning? Does he win in your view? And
Yes,
by the way,
yes, I
did
think
Museveni win in
Museveni
2000?
wins, yes. Museveni
Again?
wins. Where I disagree with Ugandans is that there are many irregularities in these elections, and I think Museveni would win in spite of them anyway. Even if those irregularities were not there, Museveni will still win. In fact, I wonder why his people tend to rig, but I understand that is also human nature.
So in your view, Museveni wins?
Yes. Museveni has won every single election he has contested in. His opponents have been weaker compared to him.
What do you call winning? By threatening people and beating them and killing others, and then people shy away? Because if you go by the statistics, why do people stay away from voting? Because the voter turn up, Andrew, you also know that the voter turn up every when there is an election goes down. So what do you think makes people stay home?
That's also not true. Voter turnout in 2011 was 58%. In 2016 it was 68%. It increased by 10%. So you have already stated something that is wrong. 2011 was 58. 2016 it was 68.
People don't come to vote
go
because
down.
no, Andrew. Let's be factual to our viewers and I mean to even your own conscience. People don't come to vote because of the threats, the murders, and the bloodshed. In my view, and in so many people's
Where
views.
did you get that from? What is your basis of that argument?
You already see the deployment of military in town.
Yes, but
as I mean to either threaten.
Are you saying the government should not deploy security forces in
Why now, Andrew?
Violence?
Why now?
Because I told you the opposition are not involved in political opposition. They're involved in political subversion. I don't think they're interested in the election. They're interested in insurrection. They want to insurrect. They don't believe that democracy can deliver to them the result they want. Because you see, these people in the opposition, my son Norman, you should know, believe that they can only win. An election is free and fair if they have won. If they lose, it means Museveni has stolen. It is either we win or Museveni steals. And that attitude, I am very critical of it. There have been opinion polls in every election. Every credible opinion poll, Museveni has always been leading and winning in the first round. So it is true, Museveni steals votes. He has what I call a rigging margin of about 5 to 7%. In every election, Museveni has rigged around that margin, 5 to 7%. I agree, I admit.
Only 5 to 7?
Yes.
In your view?
Yes. I have done enough statistical study to show that. And I can also impute from opinion polls. Museveni has also won an election with a higher margin than he would otherwise have won. Like in 2006, I think Museveni got anything between 48 to 52%, but they awarded him 57.
Let me ask you, Andrew.
Please listen to my issues.
Okay.
In 2006, I think Museveni got anything between 48 to 52%.
And they added him the other 6.
And Besigye got anything between 38 to 42%.
And they added him the other
yes.
6. Like
so it is possible that I could have.
So this time round, how many? Or no, how much percentage are they adding him in your view?
I see Museveni in the opinion polls now has 54%. Bob Wine has 31. That tells me that Museveni is likely to get 60, and Bob Wine to be at the same number. Or Museveni has always outperformed the polls.
But would you call this process free and fair in your view?
Well, I don't think I would give it in the free and fairness.
At a rate of 10?
At a rate of 1 to 10, where 10 is best, I would give it maybe 7.
Are you serious, Andrew?
Yes,
7?
Yeah, 7 or 6. You know why? Because you see, Museveni does not have Democrats running against him also. He has people who are determined.
What type of democracy do you want the opposition to exercise, Andrew? Political parties have fronted different presidential candidates. That's one of the yardsticks. What else do you want them to portray?
Because I should tell you, they have something called Plan B. They write about it on even FDC official page. Bobby Wine and his NUP, People Power, are part of it. They are organizing an insurrection in this country. So they are violating campaign rules set by the Electoral Commission. I personally
who hasn't? Let's begin with the ministers.
Are they going to be corrupt because Museveni was corrupt? Let me ask you this question. They say they want to build a new Uganda, and Museveni is wrong. Why can't they act? Why can't they be the change?
In your view, they should stay home and...
They are going to tell us tomorrow they will be... when they come into government, they will be stealing, listen, and they'll be saying, but Museveni was stealing. Why shouldn't we steal? Was it Museveni beating them? Hey, but I thought you are asking for change. If you want to change this country, show us that you are the change you are calling for. You cannot use Museveni's actions to justify your own. You are saying that you are me too. I'm also violating the rules like Acheng and other Museveni functionaries. Yes, so let Museveni and his confederates be corrupt. Let them be violent. Let them be violate the SOPs. For us, we are going to adhere to them. We shall be honest. We shall prove that we are different from them. Our values are different. We don't copy them, and we shall win. And that's the greatness of Joe Biden. He ran against Trump. Trump had all the rallies. For him, said, "I will not have rallies," and he won because he stood by his values. He did not say, "Since the president is having rallies, Biden, I'm also going to have rallies." That's the problem with the opposition.
Attempted, even if he attempted having rallies, do you think he would be blocked the same way Museveni's regime is blocking our candidates?
I don't care. Museveni is campaigning for the status quo. The opposition have told us the status quo is corruption, is violence, lies, subterfuge, incompetence. Correct?
Which is true.
Okay, to you it is true.
No, I mean,
but they have said it is true. The opposition. Let them show us that they represent different values. They cannot say because Museveni is doing it, we're also going to do it. That's absolute total rubbish. Who can accept that?
So what if you were in the opposition? How would you conduct yourself? Especially
if I was in the opposition, I would stand. I'm not in the opposition, certainly. Deliberately so. I am not on Museveni's side. I am not on the opposition side. I stand by certain values. I defend those values so fiercely that I am willing to die in defense of them. I, Andrew Mwenda, will die with these NUP hooligans. I see yesterday they attacked me on Twitter because they said they had been picked up.
By the way, it's here. I'll read you. In fact, you
there are 1,300 comments.
You authored it yourself.
Yes. So, but
first finish that. I'll take you back to that
for my beliefs because I am very hostile to a movement called NUP, People Power. I find them power hungry. I find them intolerant. When compared to Museveni,
you mean, Andrew, between Museveni and the opposition, who is more power hungry than the other?
The opposition is not one person. The opposition is People Power stroke defiance. That's a horrible group. Between Museveni and Mao is more democratically minded.
Since they're not here, why do you call people horrible group? I mean, what is wrong that they have done in your view that you wouldn't do if you're in opposition? Horrible group, radicals, hooligans. I mean, Obote, your friend Obote called Museveni bandits. And the then bandit has managed this country the way you now see, and even in fact you're now praising the former bandit. Don't you think the same hooligans could do some? I mean,
I wish
some
them to
reforms?
come to power and prove me wrong. I would be the happiest man.
How will
People
they
power
come? How will they come to power when you're already demoralizing people that would support them? I mean, by calling them hooligans and bandits.
I
mean,
did not let have such
radicals.
influence on Ugandans' votes. Ugandans don't vote for Bobby Wine.
Again,
I
no.
call upon you not to vote for hooliganism.
Don't vote for Museveni as well. As well.
I am willing to tolerate Museveni another 5 years because I find Museveni a more tolerant person. I can deal with Museveni and his supporters, but I find it difficult to deal with the defiance. Actually, Bobby Wine is a decent guy.
How do you define tolerance, Andrew?
Can I
with
tell
the
you?
shootings and
Let me explain to you this.
No man.
Museveni is a more Bobby Wine is a nice guy actually. I like Bobby Wine. I find him in fact, I think that Bobby Wine, put in the right context, he could become a better Democrat than Museveni because he does not strike me as a person who is obsessed with power at all. Well, his campaigns have shown me that he's obsessed with power at all costs because he's involved in an act of mass suicide. But he's a decent man. I have some limited faith in him. He's a decent but ignorant man. But his supporters, especially the most powerful influence around him, are dangerous people. They are bad for this country. This country needs to avoid them. I would even encourage Ugandans to go and vote Museveni because Museveni is a bad guy. But the NUP people are worse guys.
You have now become the NRM agent, campaign agent,
yes,
Andrew? I
think that I would choose a bad option compared to a horrible option. Museveni is a bad option, the other guys are a horrible option. So it is like, it's not, we have a very bad set of choices to make. So we need to look for that which is least bad. And Museveni is the least bad.
What's your take on the...
Well, I should tell you, I like Muntu. I don't know his policies, but I like his values. I may vote in this election and I will vote for Muntu. I'm not going to campaign for him because I don't have time to study the forces that are propelling him for me to...
Does that mean you vote out of ignorance?
I will vote for his values. I like his values. I am attracted to Muntu not because I know his policies, but because I appreciate his values. He's a man of values. That is a great thing for me.
What's your take to the joint...
Why don't you ask those guys?
Yeah. I'm going to give you... No, we still have some minutes to respond. I will read to you their comments. One wants to ask you, what is your comment about the proposal by the Inter-Religious Council, not Inter-Religious Council, in regards to postponing
the election
by 3 years?
It's not politically feasible. Maybe we should not have had an election. Maybe
we shouldn't have had. In your view?
And I think because our politicians are crooks, all of them, government and opposition. If we had decent politicians who are not interested in power but are interested in the future of this country, we can have an election. We can have an election, put in place SOPs, and all of us follow them.
Is that practical, Andrew?
I think that's not politically feasible. It's not politically feasible. But even not holding an election is not also politically feasible.
What did your friend mean? What do you what's your take in regards to your friend's statement? I will crush the opposition. I will crush it. I mean, your friend Museveni.
Museveni is not my friend, but Museveni is also not a Democrat. Okay, Museveni is a liberal because he can tolerate divergent views. But when there is Museveni, the liberal intellectual, and Museveni, the president. Museveni, the liberal intellectual, is always at conflict with Museveni, the president, who wants to keep his power. So the two conflict all the time. So in pursuance of power, Museveni is willing to crush anybody who stands in his way. And I think those who accuse him of dictatorship make a mistake. They should accuse him of dictatorial tendencies because Museveni's government and record is a meeting ground of contradictory things. He has created a large space for free expression. We have very many radio stations, television stations. People are free on social media to say anything they want. While at the same time, in certain aspects, he can act.
Is that the Andrew that was banging tables after the closure of the Independent?
I did not bang tables. If I banged them, it was just momentary anger. Because, by the way, I should tell you...
Where has that anger gone, Andrew? Things have changed in your view.
Let's go again to the gospel according to St. Andrew. I have Museveni arrested me and threw me in jail. Andrew Mwenda prison notes. Okay? Andrew Mwenda prison notes, we can search them on Google. Andrew Mwenda prison notes. In those prison notes, I was in jail and I wrote about Museveni's democracy, and I say, in them, I say that even though I'm in jail, I think that Museveni has promoted democracy in Uganda. You see? 2 days earlier, before he was arrested on Wednesday, August 10th, the BBC News anchorman, Robin Lustig, and producer David Edmonds came to my office for an interview. They had many questions. Is Uganda democratizing? Are the media free? I told them I couldn't give one answer since the political terrain in Uganda is a meeting ground of contradictory movements. The media has two elements. I said one is political, the other is juridical. At the level of politics, President Yoweri Museveni personally and the NRM generally have demonstrated commendable respect for freedom of the press. If you listen to some political talk shows on private FM radio stations, I told Rusty Edmonds, you would know that Uganda's media are free as, or even freer than in the United States or any other democracy. People even call the president a killer, a thief, and walk home sure that no one will follow them. I sighed. I wrote this in prison. I am in prison arrested for free expression, but I had the presence of mind to say this. Those are my prison notes. They were written in August 2005 when I was in a jail. Read it to your listeners.
Andrew,
no, they say Mwenda changed. Read it.
Andrew,
no man,
don't persuade me. I will also read their comments to you.
Let me repeat the gospel according
people
to Saint
still
Andrew.
insist there are 2 Andrew Mwendas we have in this country. Just like we have 2 Musevenis, we have 2 Andrew Mwendas.
Chapter 1, verse 3. The media has 2 elements. I said, one is political, the other juridical. At the level of politics, President Museveni personally and the NRM generally have demonstrated commendable respect for freedom of the press. If you listen to some political talk shows on private FM radio stations, I told Lastica and Edmonds, you would know that Uganda's media are as free as, or even freer than, in the United States or any
My
other
girlfriend asks you, if Museveni, in your view, if Museveni has already won, so why would people waste their time participating in that?
No. There are many elections when an incumbent is so strong and is likely to win, and the opposition know it, and still people go to vote in order to register their protest. The fact that Manchester United is going to play a party, or Germany is going to play Uganda in any World Cup game where you know that they are going to win, does not mean that the other side should not play. When we at Manchester United, you see my logo, we had Ferguson, we removed him, now see the mess we are in. Anyway,
you have critiqued.
So I was telling you that in America there are many political parties which participate clearly knowing they cannot win against the Democrats and the Republicans. Don't forget, my son, Norman, that even in the United States there are only 2 parties that win the presidency. Have you ever heard of a third political party winning? But there are other third parties that participate in the election.
But there is some bit of democracy, I mean, in their process, the electoral process than here.
Who told you? Which measure have you used?
No, Andrew. I'm not too young. I am not too young, just like so many other young people out there. I'm not too young to see things.
Political parties dominating the political scene. Why?
I'm not too young to see things.
You think because the election is free and fair?
Andrew, I'm not too young to see how things are being managed in this country.
It's because you have an ideal in your mind and you think that ideal...
Because, Andrew, I have this ideal. No. I have this mind of the Andrew Mwenda I used to listen to in 2000. I mean, at a personal level. And I have now this Andrew Mwenda I am reading about, and also of course, because why now? Why are people criticizing you now, Andrew? Why when people are criticizing you then, and they are now criticizing you in your view?
Are you going to answer one question for me?
No.
First, there is an Andrew Mwenda you listened to in 2000 and the one of 2020.
Not me alone. I mean, our viewers out there. Why do you think people have come up to critique you now than then?
That's the second question. That's the second question.
Yes.
I have asked
if you haven't changed.
I have changed you. I have asked you in this program a simple question. Your colleagues are listening. You young people here. Can he mention one thing I said in 2000, which I have not said now, in 2020? Just one. Either in favor of Museveni or against him. In favor of Besigye or against him. One. And I will prove to you that Mwenda is the same Mwenda. Now the second question is, why do people think I've changed? You know why? Because Uganda has changed. At the time I used to criticize Museveni, most Ugandans were on his side. People are not as angry as they are with him today. Museveni had not yet ruled for 500 years at that time. Yet he had been in power for 15 years. My criticism looked toxic at that time. Today, if this was the Museveni, this was the opposition, maybe I was here. Now the opposition has shifted here and gone there. They are so extreme. So my position, which is consistent, now looks moderate. That's why they say, yeah, I have changed. For me, change, I am a writer. Change must be read in my text. It cannot be read in your mind. You have said, Mwenda said, Museveni is corrupt then. I have shown in 2000, I have been writing that Museveni's NRM is a cash and carry government. Haven't I said it? I have said it has lacked moral purpose in 2008. I have shown I have said it in 2000. Tell me one thing I said against Museveni then, which I have not said now. One thing. Don't say 5-1. I'm listening.
Andrew,
zero. Tell me.
It can't be zero.
One,
can it be zero?
What
Andrew?
is it?
I don't want to go back to
what
you said.
You said you listened to me.
For me, I want...
Say it, no man. I really want you to say that, old man. You said this in 2000 as a criticism of Museveni. Now you have not. No.
I mean, you used to call him a dictator at the time. You now say he's more democratic. I mean, he's more.
Okay, let's read it, because in fact in here, let's go back to the gospel. Huh? Very good. You are not every time you come me, I depend on proof. So we are going to. what have happened with Museveni. But over the last 1 month, Bobi Wine has created a roller coaster campaign. He has positioned himself as an underdog fighting an entrenched dictatorship. To many young Ugandans suffering from anxiety over the future, whether employed, unemployed, or underemployed, he has a simple but powerful message. I am fighting for your freedom. All of you have to become freedom fighters to fight for your freedom. Some of us will die, but it will be for a greater cause. This message is resonating.
Wait, some of you?
This is Bobi Wine. I'm quoting Bobi Wine.
Fine,
some of us will die, but it will be for a greater cause. This message is resonating with many young people in urban and semi-urban areas who clearly see him as a hero and who think that this freedom is the solution to the anxiety. Bobi Wine is short on policy and strategy, but he's sincere with his feelings, which resonate with this segment of our population. He's unlikely to win this election for reasons I'll discuss another day, but for now he's the new kid on the block. I say, here is Museveni's real dilemma. Bobi Wine has branded him a dictator and needs proof. Bobi Wine has, without premeditation, lured Museveni into a series of street battles against street battles where more than 100 people have been killed. This slaughter has been captured live on social media, the platform where Bobi Wine is best dominated. So he has provoked a powerful enemy in control of the state to use arbitrary violence to prove the accusation of dictatorship. This is exactly what Museveni did to Obote in Luwero. So,
let's come back to what's happening now, Andrew.
Please simply say old man. I think my prejudices have been shut up.
All
the prejudices they came with, all the assumptions.
Old man.
So when people read this, why don't they read them?
Old man. Let's talk about the promotions and the deployments about in your friend's regime. And beginning with your friend.
Don't call it the regime, call it the government.
Okay, government. Okay, for lack of another word, because that's what you prefer. Okay, government.
Or an administration.
Okay, an administration.
Because we don't call it the Obama regime. We call it the Obama administration. Why
okay.
not?
No, of course, Africa. Okay, Andrew. We have seen your friend appoint his son, reappoint actually, to head the SFC. What's your take?
Which I think was a very good decision to make.
Family rule.
I think that Museveni is caught up in a contradiction. The longer he has, I have read already a clip. The longer Museveni has stayed in power, the more authority has come to move from him individually.
Or the more power hungry he becomes.
I think the more entrapped. You know, Museveni is as much an architect as he is a hostage of his own power. You know that. If he wanted to leave, how can he leave? He's trapped in it. People don't see that Museveni is both an architect and a victim of his power.
Okay, just finish and they ask
he
you how
he
far
may have to govern until he dies, unless there is a force that. I don't think that Museveni is going to retire. I think he will rule until he dies.
He's trapped with his family.
Yes. Yes. So now I was telling you why I think that the appointment of Muhoozi, as in a contradictory way, is a good thing for Museveni, because Museveni needs to appoint people in positions who have access to him at a family level. Because authority has shifted,
from institutions
power has shifted gradually to him, so authority is transmitted from him to immediate kin, family, kin, and a close circle of friends. It can no longer be impersonal. Power is highly personalized and highly particularized. And,
so would you concur with the citizens that there are no institutions in this country now?
I would say that even that is more complicated, because there are many institutions in Uganda now that can exercise independence out from Museveni. But institutions in key critical areas of, let me say, like you can see Uganda Revenue Authority, you can see Uganda National Roads Authority, you can see, I'm beginning to believe in the KCCA, he may need to put a family member. Because you see, if you are there are institutions in Uganda like National Water and Sewage Corporation, NSSF, Uganda National Registration Bureau, National Registration. There are so many institutions in Uganda that work even without him putting in anything. Museveni does nothing and they are thriving, they are successful. So this is why I'm telling that Uganda and Museveni is the meeting ground of many contradictory movements. But there are other institutions that can't function without Museveni's personal direct interventions. And those institutions, he needs to put there people he can trust. And if he can only trust his family, you are very young. As you grow older, I saw my mom when she reached 80. By the time she was 80, she retreated to a very small circle. She wanted things that are familiar to her. She could not. How can Museveni deal with you, no man, now? I mean, he doesn't know you. So I think that appointing him was a good move, because I think now he can have somebody whom he trusts command an institution without fear of sabotage, and the person who is actually experienced, because Moses has been at SFC before.
Let me ask you, Andrew. You have heard and read about the Muhoozi project. Don't you think this is one of the prerequisites to prepare him for?
I think if I was president, I would want my son to become president, as long as I can do it constitutionally. So Museveni has every right to create conditions for his son to become president in the future. I'm sure George Bush did it for his son in America. You didn't complain. Bill Clinton did it for his wife. You didn't complain. And I don't know why you complain about Museveni. But unless he imposes him on Uganda. In fact, you should know that family successions are very common in democracies. You can see in Sri Lanka, the Bandaranaike family. In India, the Gandhi family. In Pakistan, the Benazir Bhutto family. If you go to the United States, the Bush and Clinton family, the Bush, Kennedy and Clinton families.
Andrew, save for the military governments. The governments have mentioned, they're all civilian governments. They don't bring their children into the army and make them suffocate others. And as
but how has Muhoozi's individual presence in the army suffocated anyone? Has Solokesh been suffocated?
There's so many people that think are being suffocated.
How? Muhoozi occupies one position.
No, haven't you?
The army has one.
You don't need to own. You don't need to
so
be.
When Muhoozi was removed from the army was not suffocated.
In any case, was he removed? In
of course he was.
Maybe just on paper, on deployment.
Okay. So if you're saying it was on paper, why have they brought him? If his absence from SFC meant nothing, why did the father need to reappoint him? He could have kept him in the background and exercised the same power. Why did he have to appoint him commander of SFC?
Let me read this for you.
No, man. Answer me. I asked you a question. Okay, no, proceed.
Andrew.
I know that when you don't answer, you have realized that you have been beaten.
No, not really, by the way. Andrew, for me, I'm trying to be an extinguisher between the fires the other side and also the fire this side.
You are part of the fire.
I'm not part of the fire.
You are part of this.
I'm not part of the fire, Andrew.
The fire.
So you wake up in the morning, bring your son, put him there.
Kennedy appointed his...
But you said institutions don't work here.
Listen,
and the
Kennedy
institutions out there, for some reason they work.
His brother Attorney General, Trump right now appointed his son-in-law and his daughter into government.
But you can't compare the institutional capacity of states and Uganda. Andrew.
I agree. The more reason why Museveni should rely on his family, because institutions here are weak. Obote was not a tribalist. I think that's why he was overthrown. Museveni has been more tribalistic than Obote, and that's why he has kept power.
So you mean...
So if Bobi Wine came, you see Bobi Wine's brothers, and they're very powerful people in NUP. That's what the Matoro say. That the tree that is going to bear good fruit, you can sit in the seedling. Bobi Wine, isn't his brothers very powerful in NUP? So, how different is he from Museveni? Winnie Byanyima is very powerful in FDC.
I doubt that.
She's away from... Of course she is.
So you're preparing citizens for monarchy, for lack of another word?
I think that you cannot, especially in the poorly institutionalized societies like ours, you cannot disregard nepotism as an important stabilizing factor in politics.
Stabilizing or destabilizing factor instead?
It is both stabilizing and destabilizing actually. It creates anger and it also creates stability.
In the event that your friend is no more, where do you see Uganda?
Well, you call Museveni my friend, okay. I think that if Museveni died in office, because I don't think he's going to leave unless I rise against him and kick him out myself.
Wait, no, okay. Okay.
I think that in the event that Museveni dies in office, out of a ratio of 1 to 9, I think 9 out of 10 chances, 1 to 10, 9 out of 10 chances are that there will be peaceful succession.
If he died in power, you say there will
9
be...
out of 10 chances. Okay, let me reduce them to 8 out of 10 chances there will be peaceful
What do you mean peaceful succession?
There will be a transfer of power from Museveni to
the son,
the vice president. No.
Are you honest yourself, Andrew?
I am very convinced, by the way, that like right now the constitution says
the vice president takes
yes
charge.
I think that we will respect the constitution. East Africa will not accept a coup. How would Muhoozi come to power? He's a commander of SFC, he's not vice president. Museveni has died. Maybe somebody shot him at a rally. How can Museveni would we first abolish the constitution? There will have to be a military coup or this man has taken over.
So in your view, when he dies, there will be some... there will be...
Second will become president. And the second is positioned to be president. I think Museveni put him there knowing that he needed a second. Second is a very smart politician. I think second is one of the smartest politicians Africa has produced. Certainly the best I have seen in Uganda. Second and Rugunda.
Do you see him coming back, bouncing back as the vice president in this...
yes,
event?
Of course.
In the event that your friend reads himself into office?
So you see your prejudice?
No, you said he reaches. He adds like a 7 or so percent.
The opinion polls have given him 54%. I think Museveni is going to win with 60. So he will steal 6%. But... and
you see him reappointed?
Yes. If I was Museveni, I would reappoint second. Second is the best vice president you can have as Museveni. And for Uganda,
it's because he's
the
not
best
ambitious
politician.
as, I mean, he's not seen as
Who
being
told you he's
ambitious.
not ambitious?
So
In
as long
fact,
as
I think that he's so smart a politician, he has disguised his ambition. You need to be a successful politician like Joe Biden. To be a vice president of
States,
of
Uganda.
Obama, he hid his ambition. Even when Obama was leaving, he did not run because he did not want Obama to keep looking at his back and says, "This man wants my job, he's going to undermine me." You see what I mean? So people like Biden and Sekandi and Moi were very smart vice presidents because they understood how to deal with power. People like Amama Mbabazi failed that test. And Kenya, they exhibited the ambition early and then they were destroyed. Second is, I think, the smartest, smoothest, most sophisticated politician in Uganda right now, together with Hakana Rugunda. Because they're able to disguise the ambition by appearing to have no ambition at all. They convince me that they have fierce ambition, but they know how to manage it.
People regard your friend as a warmonger, and of course,
yes, I think that Museveni is a militarist. I would say.
Is every militarist a warmonger?
And he has warmongering qualities as president. But I used to be very critical of Museveni's warmongering, but I've discovered actually it has been beneficial to Uganda and to Africa. Because when I look at wherever Museveni has sent his troops, in South Sudan, in Rwanda, in Congo, it has integrated those countries into Uganda and they have become major trading partners. It has established social ties. So I think that the way Europe was united through war, integrated through war, even most of these European states, even Museveni has created major trade routes, major trade relationships and social interactions through militarism. To that degree, his warmongering has been beneficial to this country.
To the country or to him as an individual?
Well, Uganda used to export nothing to Rwanda until Rwanda imposed a trade embargo on Uganda. We were exporting $250 million per year. Uganda used to export nothing to Sudan. By 2008, we were exporting $600 million worth of goods. Uganda used to export almost nothing to Tanzania. Now we're exporting about $100 million. Uganda used to export very little to the Democratic Republic of Congo. Now we're exporting about $400 million worth of goods. If you're saying all our farmers and traders who are making this money, we export to this region about $1.9 billion. If you're saying all that is from Museveni alone, then Museveni is the father of the whole of Uganda, because Ugandan farmers, Ugandan traders, Ugandan investors are the ones that are making. Ugandan workers, by the way, have gone in Rwanda, in Tanzania, everywhere because of these interactions. And surely you cannot say it has just benefited.
Leonard Mwanga says, Andrew, style up. You can't be knowing everything in your head.
I actually don't know nuclear physics, and I've been trying to study quantum mechanics. I don't know it.
Okay, viewers, Andrew, let me ask you something. If you were...
I'm trying to learn quantum mechanics seriously, but I don't
so
know
that your head...
I don't understand anything.
So you also agree you don't know everything?
I don't know anything at all. In fact, the one thing I know is that I know nothing. Or I know so little. I have only 0.0000001 million zeros 1% of the knowledge I would desire to have.
Someone also asks, does Andrew still believe this? He is Akuguzibwe Adolf. Does Andrew still believe the story he shared about South Sudan, about late Garang?
Yes, I do. I think that Uganda caused the death
now
of Garang
it's different.
through a series of mistakes. And let me tell you the series of mistakes. And President Museveni arrested me because he knew I was talking about the truth. If I was telling a lie, he would maybe have called me and insulted me. I think that he left Uganda late in the evening. They knew he was flying into very bad weather over a mountainous area which was infested with rebels. And I could have been wrong on the helicopter, and I said the helicopter was junk. The helicopter may not have been junk, but the other four elements were true. He left late, driving into a mountainous area which had bad weather and which had a Stinger missile-wielding rebels. All those facts. My son, I still hold it. Akuguzibwe rather.
Tumuhimbise rather.
Okay. No, this one.
Oh, you mean? Oh, no. Akuguzibwe.
Akuguzibwe.
That's his name.
Akuguzibwe, yes.
If you were Museveni now, how would you manage corruption?
I think, first of all, you should know that corruption is the fuel that turns the wheels of Uganda's state. It's the grease that turns, it is the grease that turns the wheels of the Ugandan politics. So I don't know.
Without Museveni, in your view?
In fact, if Museveni left, it would multiply about 10 times. Under Bobby Wine, it would be worse. Why else? But let me ask you.
Do you have any justification, Andrew?
Yes, let me give you an example. Let me assume Bobby Wine wins now. All of us know NRM will have a vast majority in parliament. So Bobby Wine wants to pass anything through parliament. He can pass a budget. There's nothing you can pass in Uganda without parliament. So why would NRM MPs vote for Bobi Wine's budget or anything, assuming there's sabotage? What would
So
he?
you mean he would bribe them instead?
What would he do? I'm asking you. Okay, he has two things. He can either bribe them or coerce them. Either he can send in the army to beat them up or bribe them. What is the other? He calls them for tea at State House. They have, all those NRM MPs who have won are heavily indebted. They have invested so much in this campaign, they need to recoup their money. How are they going to recoup it? Please, Norman, please.
What would you do?
Let's discuss reality.
Okay, what would you do?
I don't know, that's why I'm not running
Because
for president, because I think that I would also do exactly what Museveni is doing, and I would do what Bob Wine
they would be bribing them as well.
What else would I do? I can't send the police and army to beat them up. Look.
So you mean without
have you
corruption,
participated in an election?
I have.
What do voters ask from you?
Definitely money and...
Okay. So when you invest that money there and you win, how do you recover that money?
Andrew, let citizens...
No, man. How do you recover that money?
Communicate to citizens, Andrew.
But I'm communicating them through you.
I mean,
with how you dialogue
with how you I mean, telling us, and from your word, you said corruption is like an ingredient.
It's a part of our policy.
Part of the policy.
It is
so
in fact the anchor of our
Uganda cannot
democracy.
run minus corruption.
Let me put it this way. Young Ugandans, please, we can moralize, we can speculate, we can hypothesize. But here is the fact of the reality of the situation. That I don't think you can run democracy without money. And in Uganda, you cannot run our democracy without corruption. It's just impossible. I don't see how it can work. Because you just need to tell me how would it work. You need to win an election. When you're running an election, people demand money from you. So you borrow, you sell your house, you get it. Then you come into parliament. When you come into parliament, you are heavily indebted. In the this parliament that is there right now, 50% of members of parliament don't earn their salary because it goes directly to pay their debts. Then the other about 30% earn less than half of their salary. So only 20% of incumbent members of parliament actually earn their salary because they're heavily indebted. Now that's why when they lose an election, they become destitute. For us, we think that they are rich, they're not. They invest money in campaigns, they can't recruit. The only way you can recruit this money is if you become a minister, hoping to steal from your ministry, or if you are appointed on a powerful oversight committee of parliament, then you can extort money from civil servants, permanent secretaries who come to you, seeking clearance of their budgets. Now, here is the problem. Is if you remove money, how will this democracy work? Every day I wake up, I ask myself that question. If you remove corruption, how will this system work? And anyone who promises you that they're going to remove corruption, ask them this question, how? Bob Wine should explain to us that he will somehow all of a sudden become a preacher and these members of parliament will accept to become destitute, go to jail, vote for him without exchange of money.
So for how long?
And two, his own MPs, when he appoints his supporters ministers, how are they going to build a power base for him in their ethnic constituencies? When they go to Kawempe, when they go to Masaka, when they go to Gulu or Karamoja, what do they offer their support, the people who voted for them?
For how long will this corruption stay?
As our economy grows and expands, I hope corruption may change ways or will reduce. But I don't think at our current level of development, it makes sense. It makes political sense. If I'm a politician, if I was running for politics, I would say I will fight corruption. But if I'm an intellectual making an analysis, a political scientist, I would say corruption is part and parcel of the social tissue of Ugandan politics. It is the fuel that drives our politics. It is the grease that turns its wheels. It is so embedded in our politics that I believe that
Andrew,
if you remove
it, in our
it,
politics or in the NRM politics,
it is embedded in Ugandan politics. If you remove it, I believe the state of Uganda can easily collapse.
Shocking.
I don't see. Let me ask you, Norman, I want you to begin thinking, Ugandans. What would hold this country together then?
So you mean corruption that is holding the country together, Andrew?
What is holding it together? That's what I'm saying.
But is it together in any case? In your view?
Clearly we are one country. If you want to know a country that is not together, go to Libya, go to Somalia.
Andrew.
You will see where a state has fragmented and there's different bits, every village is controlled by a warlord. Or go to South Sudan. You don't need to go very far. So you think Uganda is not holding it together?
Would you celebrate if your kid
began working at 10? You don't think Uganda is holding it together?
For some reason, no.
So if you drove from here,
if you wanted to know, Andrew, if you wanted to know that Uganda isn't holding together, wake up in the morning and walk downtown. Or you ask one of the ministers whom people think that people.
Unfortunately for you, I walk downtown every day.
Maybe these guys, they don't know it's you. Because people are angry. I mean, not angry towards you, but towards people that they think
do you see the way I'm dressed?
Are beneficiaries of this entire
you see, you have made assumptions like Bobby Wine. You bring
no, I work there.
assumptions.
I work there. I am a Munyankwe myself, Andrew. I have faced the wrath. I have faced the wrath of young people who think we are beneficiaries of this whole.
Do you think Britain is holding it together? Do you think the United States is holding together?
Are they being robbed in the way Ugandans are being robbed?
Let me ask you. Do you think America is holding together?
Andrew, do you think they are being robbed?
I want
look at
you
the
to
donations.
answer my question.
Look at the COVID donations, Andrew. Look at the COVID donations, Andrew.
There are many places in America where people are angry.
On behalf of your colleagues,
there are many people in Norway where people are angry.
Andrew, on behalf of...
So you were saying there's no country in the world that is holding together because everywhere there are angry people in the world.
Andrew, let me ask you. On behalf of your colleagues, can you account for the donations and the entire resources for the COVID?
But now you keep shifting. I want us to discuss an issue and exhaust it. You said this country,
that is why I'm telling you.
That is prejudice to younger people.
No, that's why I'm telling you that the country isn't holding together because people think there are so few
who are benefiting
at their expense. Look at how the portion was distributed.
Please, Norman, I also want you to give me a chance. You invited me to talk to your people, not for you to speak to them. Because first of all, I think you're a very dangerous journalist. You are perpetuating particular biases and prejudices. Instead, a journalist should investigate and interrogate truth. You said Uganda is not holding together because downtown kids are very angry. I have explained to you that if you go to Britain, if you go to France, if you go to Norway, young people are angry. Some of them leave those countries and go to fight in Syria. You get it? America, people are very angry. People are angry at the 1%. Do you know that 1% of America control 46% of all the wealth? Do you know that? 1%.
Andrew.
Hold a second. I want to educate you because you're not informed. I want you to be informed. I have told you there is one man called Jeff Bezos. His net worth is 184 billion. As of last week or something like that. The last time we checked. 184 billion. There are more than 30 million Americans. One man in one country whose total net worth cannot reach his amount. So a capitalist economy...
Is he a minister?
No, he's not a minister. Can I tell you? Tell me. Is Sudid a minister? Do you know the richest Ugandans? Let me tell you the richest Ugandans because again you have...
Don't mention those names. People will always tell you those are agents of state. You also know. That's what people...
If people say that, does that make it true? You see, Doman, you are there feeding into popular prejudices and purveying them to the audience. You see, you and Trump and Bobby Wine's supporters are the same. You get the prejudice off the street, you go and run with it. Let me first of all tell you, the richest Ugandans are not in politics and they have no link with the state. Do you know a man called Bosco Muwonge?
Oh dear. Really?
Do you know a man called Bosco Muwonge?
Yeah.
Do you know a man called Kitandwe? Do you know Drake Lubega? Do you know Bukera? Do you know Yanga?
Between me and you,
okay, I'm asking you.
Yeah,
do you know them?
Of course, yeah. I read about them.
Where did you read them?
I mean, I followed them. I mean, I hear them. I hear people talk about them. That they
so do you know the Mokwano group? So how do they work with the state?
Andrew, out of blue, and I mean, you wake up in the morning and someone is a billionaire in just a year.
So who is this billionaire in 1 year?
No, I'm just asking. Because once you talk about that American,
no, I have just told you.
But there are so many people here whose wealth
Jeff
is
Bezos,
connected
in
to...
COVID alone, on his net worth, he has added there 60 billion. He has made more money in the last 8 months than he made all his life. I mean, people can go rich easily. But let me ask you this. You were saying, I've given you the names of the richest Ugandans, no one here knows them. I have just told them
and
to you.
And you are convinced the money has no connection whatsoever.
I am asking you, but okay, but
no, I mean,
okay, but you said they get money from the state. Surely, if a person is involved with the state, you would know. Let me tell you, the richest Ugandans do not make money from the state. They make money from public policies that government has put in place.
Let me read to you these comments. Andrew, do you believe that Muhoozi is the best commander for SFC?
I think so, yes. Without any doubt whatsoever. I think he's the best commander for SFC. 1, because of his training. B, because of his experience in management. 3, because of his combat experience.
What do you mean management? What do you mean management?
He has experience. He has been there. He has managed the institution. It is like, you see, if I was looking for a commander of SFC, I need a person with experience to manage such a complex institution. He has managed it before. That when you are looking for a CV, let me give him a CV. First of all, you should not, Muhoozi being Musevene's son should not blind you to the qualities he has. 1, Muhoozi has one of the best training anybody in the Ugandan army has received. You may say he was privileged as the son of the president to have all this training, but even the Prince of Wales, William, isn't it William or the Prince, or is the Prince of whatever it is? Yes, the son of the... Given Muhoozi's position, he cannot avoid enjoying those privileges. I am sure the children of Obama have not gone to the worst universities because their father was president. So, he has had the best training. He has had experience in SFC for the last 20 years. No one has been there longer than him. he has also has experience of managing it, not just beyond being a member. He has been there consistently for so many years, and two, he has unlimited access to the commander-in-chief. Those are qualities you need to manage SFC. Access is so important. If you are an SFC commander and it takes you 3 weeks to meet the commander-in-chief, how will you manage very well?
But do you think that works in African governments, that you need
No.
to
Obama, rather Trump, had his son and his daughter and his son-in-law and his children in the government.
I mean, when you talk about access, why wouldn't any other person, so as long as he's an institutional
Nobody
leader, access the president?
What you are saying is unrealistic.
But you access him. I mean,
no one. Do you think you could access Obama when he was president more than his wife?
Definitely not.
More than his daughters? So it goes without saying. It is natural that your family would access you more than anybody, except your mistress, maybe.
Ronald says, bribing. Well, these guys are mentally corrupt in everything. Imagine he confessed right there on air. I mean, I think he gets his argument from when you say
emotional.
No, when you say we can't live minus corruption.
That person
when you say we can't live minus corruption,
I think that
the day corruption is fault, the country will collapse.
Person, Norman, lacks the intellectual, the analytical ability to understand what I'm saying.
It reminds me of the intellectual dishonesty, that you intellectuals are dishonest yourselves and you're losing touch.
I am not that intellectual. I'm the most intellectual, honest human being in the whole world. 7 billion people, number one, Andrew Mwenda, intellectual honesty.
Why has
and that's why I say that. If I was intellectual dishonest, I would come and say, yes, you can remove Museveni and corruption will go away. But I'm intellectually honest to say that corruption is such an entrenched part of our democratic process that without it, democracy can't work. And without it, even the state of Uganda cannot hold.
So are you corrupt yourself?
I'm not corrupt because, corruption
so how do you survive
is using public means for private gain. I'm not in the government.
Okay.
I don't earn money from government. I'm not an employee of the state. I don't have an official role in the state.
But there's so many people that don't have any designated offices, but working for and with the state.
No. I can work with the state. I don't work for the state. That's why I have said, listen to this principle. We can disagree with Museveni without being disagreeable. We can work with Museveni without working for him. We can compromise with Museveni without being compromised by him.
You work with Museveni, but don't work
Many
for him.
times, whenever I have a view, if I have done research and I find something in public policy that I think he needs to change course, I call State House, I go seek audience with him, I tell him my views, he listens to them carefully, and many times he has changed. He has appointed people or changed the actions on the basis of my advice.
So to the viewers, they are right to say you are pro the regime. Okay, pro the
No.
government.
If I had a concern about Bobby Wine, I would reach out to him and advise him and say, if Bobby Wine was president and I needed him to do certain things differently, I would approach him. If he gives me audience, I would go and call.
Are these ideas as you either
if Bobby Wine, listen, guys,
ideas.
Listen, ignore this boy. You listeners.
I am your host, Andrew.
Yes, ignore my host. I am going to speak to you directly. If Bobby Wine is to be elected president of Uganda, I, Andrew Mwenda, would call State House and seek audience with him. If he gives it to me, I'd go and tell him, look, Bobby, I have the following things I have researched on. Like right now, I thought that Bobby Wine would say, look, Uganda has built excellent infrastructure up country. You can drive tarmac to tarmac from Kampala to any border of Uganda. Museveni has done a great job. But this city in which we are, Kampala, is dead. Its infrastructure is dead. This city and its surrounding Wakiso district, hold a second, produces 65% of Uganda's GDP, pays 75% of the total taxes. It is the heart that pumps the blood through the body called Uganda. If it is filled with cholesterol, fat is on its veins, the blood cannot pump properly, so the patient is about to die. That patient is called Uganda. That person is Uganda. We need to improve the heart by building its infrastructure. In the next 5 years, I will go to tell Bobby Wine we need to invest a minimum of $3 billion into the infrastructure to make Kampala a functioning city again. It is not that we need even to build many flyovers and expand roads. Just we need to remove potholes from roads by rebuilding these roads. So I don't see the opposition arguing this. This city is dead. Museveni has presided over its near death. It's on a wheelchair. We need to criticize Museveni. We need to demonstrate and tell him, please, in the next 5 years, just like in 2007, you focused on national trunk roads, you need to invest in this city so that people can move fast. People stay 4 hours in traffic. We are losing a minimum of 18 man-hours per day of work because of heavy traffic congestion. we are losing a minimum of $800 million in economic output per year because of bad roads. In fact, I think that we are suffering about 1 to 2% low growth because of the collapse of infrastructure.
Andrew,
so you can clearly see I have issues against Museveni, which the opposition are not raising.
You said you work with, not for.
I even work with Bobby Wine.
Oh, okay. NUP supporters have heard that this gentleman works with you.
Who?
I mean, I'm telling the viewers that you have confessed you work with them. You work with the Bobby Wine.
Once in a while, if I have an issue, I send him a WhatsApp and.
Okay, Alex Kamadi, why has Mwenda deviated from the speech he gave 9 years ago about Uganda? He spoke the truth. Today,
what did that speech say?
He's defending the wrongs he pointed out. I don't know, 9 years ago. Yeah, he talks of 9 years ago.
He's an informant.
Talks of 9 years ago. So,
he's an informant.
Okay, there are there's so many comments that some of them are not read here. Because
I don't mind because you are trying to. They are insulting me.
I could give them. You read them yourselves.
Yes. So because they're insulting me, I want to show you how intolerant they are.
Andrew Mwenda wano akubuza no, that's Salim Gibran. Yeah, utubuza I mean in their view. Andrew, your support for Mr. Museveni,
is it support
Museveni? Okay.
I am opposed to President Museveni.
You oppose it? But pro his son. Is it, I mean, not soft landing? Are you preparing yourself for a ministry or something? Andrew, are you preparing yourself for...
You know, man, is that you see things in black and white. I have told you.
Surprisingly, I see them in colored.
No. There are so many gray areas. First of all, there are many things about Museveni which I like. First of all, the man...
And there are so many good things about opposition that you like?
Yes. I have told you I like him. I like Bobby. Bobby Wine is such an amazing guy. I like him. I don't know
if Bobby became president and appointed you minister or something, would you?
I will not take it. I'm not.
If Muhoozi became president and appointed you, would you?
Maybe Muhoozi would.
Oh, so now
because Muhoozi is my friend.
You're not pro Muhoozi project.
With him. If Muhoozi was running for president, I would support him 100%. I would be the chairman of. I am the chairman of the Muhoozi project.
Oh. Okay, I didn't know. So yeah, no wonder why you're bitter with that.
But when the father arrested me,
I wanted to read to you
your own
Twitter.
That's why I find it so sad that you are not researched well. When the president arrested me, the president of Uganda in 2005, August 12th, threw me in jail. You get it? August 12th, the president of this country sent me to jail. On August 13th, Muhoozi came to prison to see me. On August 14th, I was still in prison. General Salim Saleh, the brother of the president, came to see me.
So your thing of Muhoozi project has not just started?
So my friendship with Muhoozi or General Salim Saleh did not start yesterday. Even my relationship with Museveni. I used to host a show called Andrew Mwenda Live.
Yeah.
Museveni used to come to that show. Are you aware? Are you aware?
Yeah, I do.
Saleh used to come to that show. Every government minister used to come to that show. Every army officer used to come to that show. So what are you talking about? It's not true that Andrew Mwenda started dealing with Museveni yesterday. In 2005, when he was sending me to jail, he was also coming on my radio show. I left prison on 15th of August, which was a Monday. On Friday, I went to Saleh's house and stayed the night there, here in Entebbe. No, we are rather here in Munyonyo. General Saleh was staying here at Munyonyo. I found General Muhoozi there. That was on 20th of August. President Museveni came, we had lunch with him here next to Munyonyo. Did you know that?
No, of course. I'm also getting surprised that the Muhoozi project hasn't started now, because when you say you are the chairman of the Muhoozi project, then I have no any other comments.
But
to say,
let me tell you another thing. Muhoozi wedded in 1998.
Yeah.
Go read the moment of the time I went with him on his honeymoon. Have you ever gone with anybody on their honeymoon?
No.
So you go and read the month of 1998. After his wedding, I was with him at his honeymoon.
So citizens should now know.
So I just want you to know
your bias towards NUP or any other opposition is definitely a self-interest.
But listen, I, Andrew Mwenda, have stayed in Bessege's house in Imbarara.
To spy on him, maybe.
And he has been my friend all my life that I have been in politics. And I have told you, I like Bobby Wine. When Museveni was fighting Obote, I used to sleep in Museveni's house in Wachito. I would go and sleep in Obote's house in Lusaka. The fact that the two disagree does not mean I can't deal with them. President Museveni was in disagreement with President Kagame. President Kagame has always been my friend.
Chilake
Listen, so I am friends with the Bobby Wine, and I want the Budu people to know I really, really like Bobby Wine. I also think he has a very pretty wife, and I like Bobby, and I like them as a couple. I like their kids. I follow them on Instagram. Go and see.
And you hate
everything.
You like Bobby, but
let me first explain to you. Every time Bobby Wine posts a picture on Instagram or his wife of them and their family, I always like it. I follow them religiously because I think they're an interesting couple.
That isn't enough, Andrew.
But I disagree. Listen to this. I disagree with the Bobby Wine's politics, mildly, but I am vehemently opposed to the radical extremism of people power NUP supporters. Not all of them. There is a fringe, there is a radical extremist segment which is dominant around Bobby Wine. I disagree with them. I disagree with them passionately, and I am willing to offer my life for them to kill me in defense of that position.
Chilake Emma asks you, Andrew, what do you think will be the fate of General Sabiti? His drop was...
Sabiti is one of the...
Was it a punishment or something? Okay,
Sabiti is one of the best officers Uganda has produced, highly educated, culturally refined, intelligent, and he's a good friend of mine. And I don't think there is a fall of him. He's going to be redeployed. I am very sure. Uganda, of course, needs...
Is Lokech a suitable...
Excellent. He has incredible experience.
Is police in control or UPDF in control of police?
I think that there is a creeping UPDF control over police. People don't understand that, in fact, Kale had solidified the police. Kale had shifted power from UPDF to police.
Really?
Yes. People don't know that. And I hope that the people like Sabiti and Lokech should ensure that if Lokech called me for advice, and Lokech is my very good friend, he's a competent officer.
Who isn't your friend in this regime, Andrew?
Who is not my friend in the opposition? Muntu? Besige? Bobby Wine? Ask them. Can Besige say, Mwenda and I have not been friends? Maybe the other day I met him, I gave him my hand, he did not want. I gave him a hug, he gave me a hand. But I grabbed him and hugged him nonetheless. Because I think that I can disagree with you politically, but we relate. Because me, I have criticized Museveni brutally. But Museveni would call me and disagree with me. I have been very brutal in my criticism of him. Even these articles I've read on Facebook, Museveni was not happy with me. His family members were not happy. Muhoozi was not happy. You get his daughter Natasha was extremely upset. I'm sure the first lady was also angry. But you see, I am an intellectual. I want people to live with me for who I am, not for whom they want me to be. I don't want to
Someone says here,
listen,
Andrew Museveni.
I want to be Andrew Mwenda's version of Andrew Mwenda. I don't want to be anybody else's version of Andrew Mwenda.
Mwenda, Andrew, please, I never sleep until you guys are out of control of Uganda. I don't know whether he thinks you're also in control of Uganda or something. There is Mwenda.
Tell them we have been here. Guys, come over here.
Mwenda is not informed. This is Peter B. Chadimpa. Mwenda is not informed, though he claims to be. What does he mean by Muhoozi having a combat experience? Where did he gain it? From Garamba? From Garamba? From Garamba, we know what went on there. He continues to say that Muhoozi is the best SFC commander because he can't meet the president, because he can meet the president anytime. This means that Mwenda doesn't know the command structure of the army. Sorry, why must a president appoint a commander who won't access him? Mwenda is a nerd. That's Chalimpa.
Okay, but Chalimpa is uninformed. Because if Chalimpa was informed, he would know how many combat missions Muhoozi has been involved in South Sudan, in Somalia, in northern Uganda. There is a time he lived in northern Uganda for a whole year fighting. People don't know these things. Muhoozi has put his life at risk for this country. In the war against LRA, for this continent of Africa, he has fought in Somalia, he has fought in South Sudan. So when people say these things, they are purveying prejudice. You may dislike Muhoozi's politics, but don't take away the fact of what his accomplishments as an individual have been. That's 1. 2, he has incredible training. Very few have trained as much as he has. And 3, you can't deny he has very good access to the president. You look at the United States. Read books by leading investigative journalist there called Bob Woodward. You will see many ministers can be appointed and have no access to the president in America, which is the most institutionalized country, and things fail because they have no limited access. So access to authority is very important. And it's not true that you have access to the president because of the job you have. In fact, you have access to the president because of the relationship you have with him.
Kakande Faizo, when I talk about security operatives, the way they kill people.
That he wants to... I disagree with the way the police and the LDUs and the army handled the recent riots because I felt they panicked. They were not organized. But now that the organization of the security has been improved, coordination has been improved, because one of the problems we are facing, there was no central command. Your police sent people there, LDUs sent, deployed, then the SFC sent, then the UPDF sent, military police sent. There was no unified command. Everybody was shooting. No one knew who was shooting where. Let me tell you, if you want a thorough criticism of the disaster that happened in the last riots, you come to me, because you in the opposition cannot even make a smart criticism of the disaster that led to the death of so many of our citizens. You don't know. I do. And I agree. I can articulate your grievance better than you. But what is happening now, Lokech has come in, and I trust him. He has commanded many battles. And I have met him, by the way, and talked to him. And I can see, yesterday they arrested Bobby Wine's people got to Kalanga Court. Not a single shot was fired. Bobby Wine was brought by helicopter, landed at the airstrip and taken to his home. There was not a single, even a mosquito was not killed in that process. So this is the bottom line. There had been a collapse, a failure of coordination of the security forces, of effective command and control. There was also a failure of politics. You see, you cannot deploy in Kampala here simply because you have security. You need to go to the young people who are angry in downtown, talk to them, listen to the anxieties, mobilize them against the violence that Besigye and Bobby Wine are mobilizing them to be involved in.
You want to use these 6 minutes? Okay, one here. Noah Asianj says SFC is an illegal outfit according to the UPDF Act.
How can anybody listen to such a
There
nonsense?
are official two forces. So he says,
absolute rubbish.
I have never seen Andrew short of constructive ideas this way.
He doesn't have the brains.
Even asks his head rank, something seems to be terribly wrong with him. I like Andrew Mwenda's arguments. This is Hamza Ali. Now acting cold as ice. Just really serve his point. Gabriel Salim says Andrew is a liar.
Gabriel,
yeah,
you need to go and repent in church today.
There is another person here who said Andrew on the list of those. What's your comment on Amidia Chambade's ministerial performance?
I don't know. I just need to assess what was the responsibility was she given.
Minister for
what
Trade
was she supposed to achieve? Yes, and what has she failed? You know, I can't make a judgment like that. I don't make judgments by standing on the street. Like
okay, Andrew. In our final minutes, do you believe in this big administrative units like parliament come next year?
I think Uganda needs a parliament of about 150 members, maybe maximum 180. That is one. We need about 16 districts. 16. The original one was 1962. So they were West Nile, Lango, Acholi, Karamoja, Teso, Bukedi, Bugisu, Busoga. Then there was West Mengo, East Mengo. Those are 10. Then there was Mubende and Masaka. Then there was Bunyoro, Toro, Ankole, and Kigezi. There were 16. We need to recreate those 16, and they would be better because they would be larger. They can even be given a federal status. They collect revenue. We need to shift power from Kampala. It's too much power concentrated here. Everything is in Kampala.
How big would you advise one to have? How big would the cabinet be in the event?
I think that you can have about 18 ministers and about 7 ministers of state in key ministries. That's all. So not more than 30 ministers and ministers of state combined.
In a final,
I think cabinet of 18. There are some ministries that may need a minister of state. Many ministries don't need a minister of state. But you see, that is technical. What I'm saying is technical. Politically, you may find that for Museveni to balance the different interests within NRM, and to secure the vote of so many ethnic groups of Uganda, he needs to have a cabinet of 7,000. How many are they now? 500 or something? Whatever they are anyway. I know they are 80 or 81. That may be out of political calculation. And if Bobi Wine came to power, you see, cabinet appointments are not a technical thing. What I was explaining about parliament and cabinet is technical, but it's a political appointment, and those political appointments you consider different political considerations, not technical considerations.
You have a minute to give us your prophecy. Come 14th.
14th.
Yes.
On 14th, my own projection is that Museveni will win by about 60%. Bobi Wine will come second.
Winning or rigging?
We will win. He will get secure about 55%, Rig about 5%, that gives him 60%. Bobi Wine will get about 30 or 33%. And then everything will continue normally. And anyone who is planning violence, I promise you, you will fail. Now that Lokech is there at police,
are you now becoming a spokesperson of police or UPDF?
Let me tell you, I want to inform younger people. Don't attempt violence. Don't attempt it, because you see, the primary role of the state is to ensure security of person and property. That is primary. If you remove, and for the state to perform that function, it must enjoy a monopoly over the exercise of violence. That is the principle of a state. If the state cannot enjoy a monopoly over violence, that state is Somalia, it is Libya, it is Iraq, it's Afghanistan, it has collapsed. So there must be a monopoly on the exercise. The state must ensure law and order by ensuring the security of every person and their property. To achieve that, it must have a monopoly over the use of violence. And for it to have that monopoly over violence, it must exercise more power than any single individual organization can have. It must have more power than anybody else. So that is why we live in an orderly society. If you go to demonstrate and challenge the weight of the state, you please know that you're going to confront its coercive instruments of repression, and it will not be good for you. And in any case, you will not be given a chance to do that. I advise you, do not listen to Bobi Wine, don't listen to Besigye, and go out there rioting. We can hold Museveni to account through civic struggles. We can use social media, we can use traditional media, we can use other methods to force Museveni to do what we want to do for this country. I'm closing with these three. Mwenda, please help. Help us and eat your money and stop talking about things that you don't know about. Please, I beg. That's Okelo Charles. Another person says, this is Kim Adrico. I love the way Andrew analyzes things. Adrico is the smartest guy watching this TV. Guys, see you some other time. We shall, by the way, commit to us. We shall invite you after 14th, and also tell us the very, very, very words on whether Bobi Wine will not have appointed Bobi Wine or any other person in opposition will not have appointed you minister or something, and also we will invite you definitely. I don't want to be minister. Let's catch up tomorrow in our other morning drive show. Tomorrow, Friday, the 1st. Let me wish you a happy New Year. And thank you for hosting me, my son. I wish everybody a happy New Year. Please, I ask you, do research. Try to be intelligent, try to be informed, so that when you speak, you express what in English we call informed opinion. Not because opinions are like noses, everybody has one. So the most important thing is, how is your opinion different from the other person's opinion? Because yours is informed by facts. Thank you. Nice time. Catch you tomorrow. I was dying. Isn't that Kanyanga?
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Bannayuganda bannange, mu kaseera kano ng'eggwanga liri mu kusoomozebwa kw'ekirwadde kya COVID-19, tubakubiriza okukuuma emirembe mu bitundu gye mubeera n'okukomya obutabanguko mu maka. Mwewale okukwatibwa ekirwadde kya COVID-19 nga mugoberera okulungamizibwa kwa Minisitule y'ebyobulamu naddala mu kaseera kano ak'okunoonya obululu. Obubaka buno bukutuusibwako Uganda Women Parliamentary Association UWOPA ne UN Women ne buteekebwamu ensimbi aba EU Spotlight Initiative.
The world is at a critical moment of providing innovative alternatives as a means to create change.